everybody. This is Directly with Fanatics Force podcast. I am AJ of Fanatics Force. I'm joined by Parker of Fanatics Force. Say hi to the people, Parker.
Hey to the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Housekeeping. You can support this channel by going to youtube.com/Fanatics4 and clicking the join button for $4.99. You can also go to twitch.tv/Fanatics4 where there are streams happening. Woo! I streamed the launch of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
What you get for all that stuff is exclusive emotes, gaming time with us, loyalty badges, switch keys from time to time. You get to join our supporters only Discord. Our Discord's a great all fun time, even if you don't give us $4.99 a month. You get to join and talk about all types of stuff. You get to update Grimhain on if you take Yamper out of your team.
Yep. Accurate.
You get to talk about Smash Brothers and how viable a character is and whether they're top 20 or not. And also you get to instigate feuds between Parker and Grimhain.
True.
But other than that, me and Parker play video games, and we're going to talk about them. What are you playing, Parker?
Yeah, that's me. A couple of things. We'll talk about Pokemon, obviously, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before that, I played some more Luigi's Mansion 3.
Same.
It's fun. I was playing a little bit earlier, and Ashley was like, "You're not going to finish it without me, are you?" And I said, "Nope, because Pokemon's out now anyway, so I've still got a bunch to do." So we'll finish it together. So that'll probably be a slow burn now. I was trying to rush through a little bit of it as we were going, but I'm on floor 9, and it's great. It's fun.
Yeah, so I was on like floor 5.
Okay.
And then I was like, I want to try to beat this game before Pokemon, because if I don't, then I never will. But I like it though. So like I want to, but like at the same time, I don't know if it's going to happen. And it's just like, there's so much that this game opens up more and more the further in you get. Like there's completely new mechanics that just like, what? Like, what? Like the movie studio and all that stuff.
I was pretty confused.
Yo, that's so neat.
It was really neat. I was pretty confused for a good minute there of like what exactly you're supposed to do, just in general, because there's a bucket, there's an item, and you're supposed to do stuff with it, and blah 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 blah. And like I didn't really catch on to that, so I was just like walking around like, what in the world? I think I did all the things I can do, but like nothing's happening. And then I finally
sequence broke it. I did part of it first, and they were like, "Oh, you got to get this," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what it is." Since I like linked everything together, and then I got one part of it that I'm supposed to get later on, but I don't have the torch light or whatever, so I have to go get that.
Yep.
And then I went through and did the whole thing. I was like, yo, that's dope.
I did mention, though, either on Twitter or in our Discord. I think it was in our Discord.
We talked Discord.
About it.
You're talking about
the chainsaw?
Yeah.
Goodness. It's floor 7. There's one bit where, just suddenly you get a chainsaw, and it's just the best moment. Like you feel alive.
And that like demonstrate, and we'll touch on that a little bit later when we talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield. That like underscored to me
all the chainsaws in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I know what you're talking about.
And it just like underscored to me how oblivious I am to spoilers. Because like I'll see something like that, and then I'll just completely ignore it, and not even intentionally. I'll just see that you said, "Oh, the chainsaw thing." I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when I went through it, I like freaking was doing that, and then after I cleared the thing, and I was like, just freaking destroyed all the things that I possibly could with that.
Yep.
I like had a epiphany. And I was like, "Oh shoot, that's what he was talking about."
That's how I feel like. I mean, like I haven't seen any Game of Thrones, and anytime somebody talks about Game of Thrones, I'm like, I haven't seen it yet, and they're like, "Oh, you haven't seen it? I shouldn't say anything." I'm like, seriously though, it will go so over my head. Like I'll have no idea what you're talking about. Don't worry, you can say pretty much anything you want, and if I ever do go watch it, I'll just be like, maybe that's what they were talking about. But
yeah, because like if anything, like what with the idea of the whole like spoilers thing that people think of is that they'll anticipate it happening,
right?
But what will happen with me is I'll realize like an hour later that's like, oh, that's what they were talking about, and that's fine. It's the same reaction I would have had anyway.
Yeah, unless it's the twist at the end or something like the Sixth Sense kind of a thing. If it's like ooh, I just dropped a thing, like a movie or something like that, then I could see it being a bit more risk of that in any case, because then it's just one story arc. Whereas in a game, especially if it's like a mechanic in it and stuff like that, it's just a thing that I still try to avoid spoilers for sure, but still. So
I'm just talking about like why I'm good at it. Because I don't pay attention. Like, I feel like most people that get spoiled kind of seek it out, whether it be actively or not. Like, I don't follow, and again, I think a lot of that is because of like what we do. I don't follow a lot of like Pokemon YouTubers and stuff like that, right? So
that's
I'm
its
not
whole
seeing
own
like,
world, that I don't know really anything about.
Exactly. It's just like the only Switch content that I consume is Wolf Den, and that's it. And that's only because we're friends. If we weren't friends, I probably wouldn't watch his videos, because it's like either I already know or I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be influenced like creatively,
That makes sense,
like I want to make a video like that and stuff like that. So I don't really consume a whole lot of gaming content. So it's hard for me to get spoiled by thumbnails and stuff like that.
True.
But yeah, Luigi's Mansion, great game. Hopefully I'll finish it. Don't know if I will.
I believe in you. I'll let you know if there's more like revelatory moments like that later on as I eventually keep going with it. But it is, I will say just real quick, I played it more single player than I have co-op, but probably about a 1-to-2 or 2-to-1 ratio. So I've played a decent amount co-op, and it's great both ways. Like, obviously it works well single
I haven't
player.
even touched it in co-op. I should though.
I mean, you can kind of imagine what it would be like co-op though, because you pretty much play co-op by yourself.
Yeah, because like there's moments where it's like, oh shoot, Luigi, get this man.
yeah, exactly. Whereas when you're with somebody else, they can do that kind of part a lot easier. You
like
can tag team that stuff.
You don't have to like call them out after the fact.
But I definitely think gameplay styles, like as far as if one person wants to get everything out of a room and the other person is like, let's keep trucking, then that's obviously, you need to be able to play similarly to somebody else for it to not be a little frustrating on that front. But, that's what games end up doing. So it's great. That's my long and short of Luigi's Mansion 3. Yep.
Good game.
Yeah. Also, I played a little bit of New Super Lucky's Tale, and it's fun. I like it.
Same. I didn't play any more than what I did on the podcast, though.
Oh.
Too many games,
Yeah.
Too many. I want to, though. The game's cool. Yeah,
just kidding.
man.
That was a joke, because too many games.
Yep. Yep.
What a great...
Conventions.
Moving on. New Super Lucky's Tale. You were saying?
It's cool. I like the mechanics. I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. I don't like it enough to also juggle it with Pokemon and Luigi's Mansion and Smash Brothers.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it if, like, March is light or something,
Yeah. I also did, like, I watched Nintendo Life made a video, like a behind-the-scenes kind of thing. And something about just watching, like, the story of it and the people that made it, Playful Games, I don't know. It was just endearing. So I think I wanted to like it more anyway. And like, I mean, I already, having played it now, I do like it, but I hadn't even started to play it before watching that video, and like just seeing the heart behind it, I was like, that's fun. I'll go give this a try. And then I ended up enjoying it.
I like mentioned it in the Discord where I was like, that's because it was like a whole mystery. I think I was talking to Grimhane. I was talking to people in the Discord and the Wolf Den Discord, because I was playing Smash Brothers and wrecking people, as I do. And he was like, I saw that you went online or something, and then somebody said something about Super Lucky's Tale, and I was like, but why? Like, I thought you bought it, and I was like, why though? Like, I don't understand. And then you said something about the demo, and that was like one of those revelatory moments where I was like, oh shoot! I was like, okay, that explains everything.
Yep. Yeah, I played the demo, and then this earlier today, I guess this morning, I played a little bit from your account. Because that's a thing that we can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then that's about all I've played, other than the game of the hour.
Yeah, I also played Smash Brothers.
True.
But I had a send off moment, because like now I'm going down to like probably once a week or something like that.
You gotta bid that Pokemon trainer farewell for a while so that you can come hang out with this Pokemon trainer.
Right, exactly. I gotta like play Pokemon, So that was like, I had to break it to Smash, but I had to sit him down It's like, hey man, there comes a day in every man's life
Yep.
where he's got to play through a Pokemon game.
This is true. Also, I just silenced my phone. I apologize that it wasn't silenced before everybody.
I don't even know if my phone's silenced. Somebody text me. Let me know.
But yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Well, which one did you get? I think we all know.
I got the good one, Sword.
I also got Sword.
You got the good one.
Yeah. I thought about it. I had 2 pros and 1 con on each of them, and the pros outweighed the con on Pokemon Sword. It's got a blue logo, and that's a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was the tiebreaker.
It's a sword, dude. It's a sword.
Yeah, it is a sword.
That was
swords
literally enough for me.
Quite a bit more fun.
Exactly.
Than shields.
Swords are objectively cooler than shields. You know. I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry.
I mean,
but them's the rules.
I mean, if there were no swords, you wouldn't even need a shield for anything. But if there were no shields, swords would be even stronger. So, like,
exactly,
you know,
exactly
that stuff. Yeah, I think if Mitch ends up getting Pokemon, which he's got a friend that was very like bring back national dex kind of stuff, and I think talked at him for a while, so he's kind of
talked at him.
Yeah, I think he's kind of middling on it and stuff, where he's like, I mean, I don't know, whatever, but I think he just got a whole earful of the controversy and stuff, and probably hasn't seen much of the actual positives of the game, because the internet isn't really showing a whole lot of the positives of the game.
Does Mitch play is he in on Pokemon? So, did he play like Ultra Sun and all that?
Yeah, he was pretty big. He hadn't played Ultra Sun. The last one I think he played was X, I want to say. I think he might have missed Black and White, but had played other ones. My
big question is, does he have Pokemon in the Pokebank that are even worth
no
controversy?
He does not.
I because most people that I know, obviously outside of this whole internet situation, they're like, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care, and I couldn't care less. If Vulpix and Ninetales aren't in this game, he would definitely. They're his favorite Pokemon by far. They're in there.
Okay, well then there you go.
Can confirm they are 1,000% in the game. I found a Vulpix and it freaking wrecked me, dude. It was on level 26, and I was like on level 11 or something. I was like, jeez, man.
Was that the first? I don't know. We'll get to it when we get to it. Well, I guess we'll get to it now. I don't know what order to do this stuff, and there's so much to talk about.
Okay, I want to get through the rest of the the whole controversy situation, because I was on Wolf Den Live.
You sure were.
With the cute boys.
I was watching.
Featuring Will Wolf. Mm-hmm. And the chat was upset because we're not upset.
Sure were.
And I'm still not upset.
They were upset because you guys don't know anything about Pokemon, and all of them do. Was the impression that I was getting.
Exactly. And I just think it's so insane that people can still say that to me, of all people. You know how many hours of content I have of, yo, Game Freak, change this. But the difference between me and them is that I'm not indignant about it, and that's what frustrates me about them. That's what gets me on. If they were being more reasonable about it, I'd be doing hashtag bring back the national decks too. But because I don't want to be lost in that, where it's like, they're so lazy and stuff. It's not. It's never that. I mean, simple.
It's like the Waluigi thing in Smash. I personally think it would be great to have Waluigi in Smash. That would be fun. He would be such a crazy, quirky character. We just had a whole Discord conversation about Wario and Waluigi game ideas the other day, and it was great. But I don't want to be roped in, at this point, with all the Waluigi and Smash people, that the toxicity kind of around that. I'm all right, I'm out of there.
And it's just for me, it's playing through this game, right? Even removed from the whole national decks and all that stuff, I actively avoid using older Pokemon. Even if I never used the older Pokemon before, I'm still I want this new thing. I want my team to be mostly new Pokemon. Yep. If not all new Pokemon.
Yep.
So even more so, the national dex situation is
Yeah.
Because that's why I'm playing this game, to see the new thing.
Yep. No, yeah, I caught a Wingull, and there is a very non-existent chance that I'm going to use that Wingull at all.
I caught literally everything that I saw.
Oh yeah, same.
But I'm using nothing. I have 44 Pokemon right now. And I'm 9 hours in. So yeah, but so far I have one Pokemon, two that I had on my team, and I was like, I'm going to use these guys because I looked in the Pokedex. I didn't look up any of the Pokemon, but I looked at like my Pokedex to see the gaps and see like, oh, okay, this one evolves and this one evolves and that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is good to know, I guess. Like
Wooloo. I looked at that and I was like, oh, okay, I evolved Wooloo. I don't like it. So that Wooloo got boxed. And then I had Yamper on my team, and I was like, oh, Yamper evolves. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what level it evolves on, but I caught another Pokemon.
That one would evolve too, yeah.
Yeah. I caught another Pokemon that was electric. Well, I didn't catch it. It was given to me. Electric and poison. And I was like, that's just better type coverage, dude. I'm sorry, Yamper. You got to go, man. You got you know?
Yep.
Sorry. Them's the rules.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so right now I have a team of 5 Pokemon. I had 6, but Wooloo had to get the boot. I don't want to replace it with an older Pokemon, and none of the newer ones that I really want to use. So I have an empty slot, and I'm going to try to catch something else to replace that.
It's the tricky thing for me with this one is I don't know how. Oh, by the way, in case people hadn't figured out, we're going to try to not spoil stuff as much as possible, like very minor stuff at most, like the fact that Wooloo evolves, that kind of a thing. Yeah. But besides that, like, we'll keep it.
I just wanted to. I had to rip the Band-Aid off on that one to get my point across of like this is what my team is without like getting too much in the weeds.
Yep.
So that's what that is. How many Pokemon do you have so far?
I've put in about 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think. Let me see real quick. I will let you know exactly how many Pokemons I have. I have... Nope. Some amount of Pokemon. I don't know,
You can press save and it'll tell you.
You're so right. I'm going to do that. Yeah, I still haven't completely gotten the hang of the UI. 21 Pokemon. Okay. 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Snap, man.
Yeah. I will say the UI during battling is great. The fact that there's a button, and this, again, I missed the last couple gens. I don't know if there was...
your last item.
Or just to use... Oh, is it just always your last item? I thought it was just Pokeballs all the time.
It might be just I'm pretty sure it's your last item, but it might be both even. I think there's a button for both. Or at least, I don't pay that much attention.
But yeah, having a button for Pokeball is so much better than having to go into the bag and finding your Pokeball and stuff. And then even if your Pokeball's right there in the bag, like just having a separate button for like, all right, this is the part of the battle where I do this, so you don't I don't know, like I've done it before where I just accidentally hit fight again or something like that, kill something, and like, it's just a pain, There's a lot of quality of life improvements like that. Yep. Like a lot of coverage has already touched on this, so it's not new information. Right. But the whole thing of like, the game contextually learning, like, oh, you have Pokemon, so like you know how to catch them. Yeah, I don't got to tell you how to do that. Or asking you, like, do you know how to, like, have you ever been to a Pokemon Center before? Right. Even though, and I talked about this when I was streaming it, I don't like that the game blocks you off from going to the Pokemon Center, because if I already went there, it would be a lot easier for me to just nip that whole thing in the bud, where it's like, I already been here, you don't got to do this. It definitely seems like to some degree they could have done even further, like at the way beginning, have you played Pokemon games before? Like, and then just do a completely separate, like, truncated version of everything. But
and I don't even see, the thing is though, I don't even think that it needs to be that direct. I think like them contextually doing it and saying like, oh, okay, you said this, you did this, so therefore this. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. So how many times have you battled Hop so far?
Twice, I think. I think just the 2 way beginning ones. Like, I haven't... You probably battle him in the first... Moto...
So you battle him twice to start the game out. You battle him the first time where it's like, hey, I got the thing, and then you get the chance to catch your own Pokemon, and then you battle him again. Yes. And then I think I've battled him 2 times since then. Okay. And he's still, even now, 4 battles in, when I do a super effective move, he's like, man, you and those type coverages. You went over here using those weaknesses and stuff, man.
Have
like,
you had
just...
a bunch of... Okay, for me too, the opening move was a critical hit. Mm-hmm. Okay, I assume that was the case for you too. And then the finishing move on the second battle was a critical hit.
I don't think I got a critical hit against him in the thing.
Gotcha.
But I know he comments on that because I did get a critical hit later.
Oh, gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
Critical hit. You're so good.
I figured those ones were intentional because of like just the timing,
like,
you
to
know,
teach
like
you and
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like that.
Like, oh, the first battle, let's start you out really lucky, you know.
Right.
But yeah, but when
it definitely to some extent does that because like Wooloo is like to teach, or his Wooloo is to teach you like, oh, you level up and then you get this attack and maybe hey, you got this new attack, dude. You got a new attack. Maybe you should use it.
We'll try
and
it
then
out.
use it, and that's the type advantage.
That's the one. And then he asks you, do you understand type advantage? And you're like, yeah, you know it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, a lot of the like intro-y kind of stuff seems pretty standard in some ways. Side note, I don't know why they didn't advertise like overworld Pokemon everywhere more.
Yeah.
Because like the way they made it seem was that in the wild area there'd be overworld Pokemon and then everywhere else would be random encounters because that's kind of what they showed up until like very recently. And then even very recently they didn't specify it. But yeah, straight up, like, I mean, there can be random encounters in any tall grass, but you can also avoid them. Or there's wild roaming Pokemon everywhere. So like,
yeah, so like
that's a
pretty
big
much
deal.
everywhere or anywhere works the same way that the wild area does.
There you go, exactly.
But the wild area, it seems like the Pokemon in the wild area roam further away from the grass.
That could
than
be.
They do.
I think also the ones that aren't in the grass are typically the ones where it's like, this is a stronger Pokemon. It seems like. But yeah,
also, it seems like the wild area has more like. I haven't seen any new Pokemon in the wild area. I've only seen like legacy Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I guess I haven't either. I'm trying to think because the newest stuff I've seen isn't new ones. That said, what evolves into a Beware? Stuffle?
Stuffled something like that. Yeah.
Dude wrecked me.
Yo, same. See, but this, I mean, well, he didn't like take out all my team.
No, not all, but like two of my
the
Pokemon.
Level he was on,
yes.
For the level he was on, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I ran into, that's inaccurate. A Beware ran into me.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh shoot! I had to use a Pokeball to get out of there, man. And I was like, I can handle this little guy. And then I was like, oh, level 15, this is manageable. I'm going to have a Beware eventually. And then it was like, nah, man, I'm not staying in that. Are you stupid? Great Ball when I have red health. I'm not staying in there. Are you stupid?
Yeah, that was. He was level 15. I was level 12, I think. I do think I'm over leveling myself because I just evolved my. I won't say into what, but I just evolved my Sobble, which is my starter.
Yeah, the good one.
Yeah, in the wild area, and I just now walked into the town that's after that. So like, yeah, kind of feel like I might be super over leveled. I don't really know.
What level are you on?
Like I'm 15. Like,
you're good.
Okay, cool.
You're good.
Nice.
I felt the same way. I was like, okay. My levels are too high because we're thinking of like how the old games are structured. Right, exactly. It's like the gym leader's around 15. Now he's higher than that.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's not too much higher than that.
Right.
But he is higher than that.
That's good to know in any case. Yeah, because like in the wild area too, well, just in general, I don't really know how I want to deal with leveling Pokemon and that kind of stuff because I'm not really one to have like a main core team that's like really type advantage. I mean, really like well balanced and stuff like that. I just like leveling up a whole bunch of different Pokemon at once. So typically in the past, I would like just trade out lots of Pokemon and to some degree level all of my Pokemon up at the same time.
Yeah, same.
But I don't know how I want to do that or not because there's going to be so many more Pokemon so much quicker now too because of the wild area and
right.
Like, I just don't know.
How I'm approaching it is I do have like a core team, like mentally of like, okay, this is my core team that I have. And that shifts and changes all the time with new discoveries because like, and that's, I do want to like quick, like side quest, on this journey of a conversation. I do want to say that this game feels so much better because I don't know anything about
that is
the Pokemon.
nice.
Like, I think out of, other than like the older legacy Pokemon, pretty much every Pokemon I ran into so far I've never seen in my life. Like, I saw a Galarian form of a Pokemon and I was like, what the heck is that? And I don't want to say what it is.
I haven't run into it yet, I'm sure.
If you find, it's relatively early. Okay. You'll find it within like at some point today. If you keep playing it, you'll find it. And I was like, and you'll probably know what it is when you see it. I'm like, what is that?
That's really funny.
But it's great. It's a good one. I was cracking up. And even like Corviknight. So Corviknight is an evolutionary stage. I'm not going to say it. It makes sense once you know that. But
interesting.
I saw with the Pokemon that evolves into it. And I was like, oh, okay,
that all
I get
makes
it now.
sense now.
Everything makes sense.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yes. I'm with you.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes sense with the, and especially
and I'm really glad
like,
because I like that one too.
Yeah, same.
I like that a lot.
I was like, and I mean, the first form I don't really like that much.
Mostly there's a combination of moves that I don't know if it's new or not. Like, they might be older moves or they might be newer moves, but I think they're newer moves. But essentially the way these two moves work is one of them raises your attack and accuracy both up.
Yeah.
And then the other move...
You're talking about Hone Claws.
Yes. Is Hone Claws new?
That's not new.
Okay. What about then the other one? I don't remember what it's called. There's a move that it has that's only like 20 power, but
I think I know what you're talking about, and that move is new.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I was talking when I was streaming, I was like, what the heck is that? And I still don't know what it does.
So it just gets stronger based on however many of your... It's not even just...
Oh, no. Okay, no. You're talking about something else. You're talking about Beat Up?
Yes.
So how many Pokemon you have in your part?
Different.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about... I'll pull it up real fast. It shouldn't take too long. Essentially, this one, it's got just a power of 20. Mm-hmm. And it... here, we'll find it in here. Check summary.
I mean, I don't think the name of the move is a spoiler. You can say
I was just trying to find Power Trip.
Oh yeah, that is the one that I was like, what is this?
Okay, so it's a base level or a base power of 20. But then for every, I don't know by how much it increases the move, but every stat boost that you have on any stat, it's not even just your attack stat, it increases the power of the move. So if you use Hone Claw, which increases 2 stats separately, and then
and it will boost that move.
Yeah, so I used that, and I wiped out Hop's whole team with just that one Pokemon, because even though he kept using Growl to bring my attack back down, I was using it, which also brought up my accuracy. So every time I was boosting up 2, he was lowering 1. So then I just one-shot like 2 of his Pokemon.
That's insane. I didn't use that move at all because I didn't know what it did.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to, because I was streaming it, I didn't want to like stop and say, okay, let me familiarize myself. I didn't even know what the type of like half of my Pokemon were.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a dark type Pokemon. I don't. Yep. I think you know what I'm talking about. And I didn't know what type it was. Like when I saw it, I was like, is this a fire type or something? I don't want to use my Sobble if it's a fire type.
We do have a lot of dark moves early on. Does that feel standard for so early game?
No.
Yeah, that seems weird to me. But like, I mean, I'm not mad about it, but like,
I mean, it really doesn't. It's not like dark is like inherently good.
No,
it really just depends on what the type of the gym is.
Yeah.
And it seems well balanced given that.
Yep.
So
it's so fun.
I like this game.
I do too. Also, Tyros chasing me around in the wild area was one of my favorite things. Where like, because they're so little, and like I just walked. I saw somebody post a video on Twitter like yesterday or something like that, or somebody was like, "I thought Nintendo didn't say this game was going to be scary," and then like you're running around and like Tyro just like not chasing after you.
No, I had a legit moment like that where I was like, I forgot what Pokemon it was. I think it was Beware. Okay. But I like walked up to it. I was like, you're probably slow and stupid. And it freaking it did an animation and then it freaking hauled. It like chased. I was like, oh crap. I was like, I did not expect that. I love this game so much. And
yeah, go ahead.
It's funny because it's like people were asking me during the street, like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know.
Yep.
Because like I feel generally the same with every Pokemon game when it starts. It's like, it's a new world. You know, I don't have any like solid opinions. I don't know if this is like the worst or best Pokemon game ever. It's just a Pokemon game at this point. Can't really place it anywhere. But after playing the game and like during the stream and like my first couple hours, so I would say half of my playtime, I like mostly avoided the wild area because I didn't want to like spend the whole stream there. I wanted to like somewhat progress.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So I didn't really go there, but my aunt, who's my age, is also playing this game. And she came in here and she was like, yo, you wanna she's like, let's play a game and like do wild area stuff. And it's like we're both exploring like our wild area and stuff like that. And she's like at a separate area of the wild area. And she's like, oh,
are you guys playing like on the same or together at this point?
Yeah, like locally, like
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is weird. It's weird because like it doesn't automatically like it seems weird. We still haven't figured it out.
Okay.
Because it's like they have the local wireless or whatever, and we sometimes we wouldn't populate in each other's world. But then I was like, all right, let's try going onto the internet, and then you go on the internet, and then you populate, and then I'm like, all right, well, this is too hectic now. There's too many people in here, so let's go back on the local, and it'll work, but like it wouldn't update. So I don't know. They got some kinks to figure out with that, or maybe we got to figure it out. I don't know. I didn't try any max rate battles yet either, so I don't know how that affects it. I don't know how like trading league cards affects it either. So you know, there's still more to be learned.
My one last story that I just thought was fun was when you go out into the wild area. This was a controversy thing that they were talking about. You guys were talking about on the Wolf Den. Was that you can't catch Pokemon that are so much leveled above you or whatever. Which I will say, it's not just. Like my highest level Pokemon was 14 and I was able to catch a level 15 something. So like it's not just that, but there are Pokemon that's like, this is a strong looking something or other.
Exactly.
So I guess it's those. But the first, like as soon as I came out of the wild area, it was raining out there and there was an Onix just like wandering around and it said something about strong Pokemon. And I walked up to it and it was a level 26 and it was like, and I was level 12, I think at the time. And it was like, make sure to run away if you need to. And I one-shot it because it was raining and he had double type weakness and it was great. So that was just a fun little time. I was like,
when I ran it, I think that might be a predetermined thing. Or maybe it's just because maybe it's because of like the day and like that sort of thing. So it's like, it's this day and that because it's this day, it's raining and Onix is there, you know? So that was like the first strong looking Pokemon that I ran into too. It almost wrecked me because I didn't use Sobble. So it was like, if I would have switched to Sobble, I would have been fine. But I was training my other Pokemon because like, I think it was during the stream even. When I was like, I don't want to just like power level Sobble because like everybody's going to level up with him, but he's still going to be like ahead of them. So I like started swapping it. Plus I want to use my other Pokemon, you know? So I swapped them out, and I speaking of that, did you evolve your Sobble yet?
Yeah, I just did, and so I'm probably going to switch him out now and let him do his own thing while I level up some other folks a little bit.
Yeah. I think I evolved every Pokemon on my team at least once.
I have not yet done. I evolved a bug type Pokemon once.
I think I have that Pokemon. I did. He went in the box immediately. I think he's in the daycare now though, because I did put 2 Pokemon that are like newer Pokemon, and I was like, I want to see what you turn into.
Yeah, right.
But like, I don't want to use you
these days with the daycare. Like, if they get to an evolution level, does it still just like keep leveling up and then wait for you to pull it out and then
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I didn't get to that point yet. I don't know what level.
But like in Sun and Moon, that was still probably the case.
Yeah.
I'd imagine then that's still
in
the way
Sun
it works.
and Moon. You couldn't even. I don't even think the daycare levels up your Pokemon.
Oh, what?
Sun and Moon.
Weird.
It's just a breeding place. Because you could level your Pokemon in the archipelago or whatever.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Any more thoughts about just the game itself before we get into?
It's a good game. I like it a lot, man. I like it more than I thought I would. Not again, completely removed from this whole, because I've been telling Game Freak they needed to improve before it was cool. You know.
Yeah. And I think, to be frank, they've done more things in this than, like they did
any other game ever.
Yeah, like they did make a substantial number of changes. Also, some of those changes were getting rid of some of the Pokemon and stuff like that. But yeah, the controversy this week was the whole Game Freak lied thing.
Which was, it's nonsense, and it will always be nonsense because people are cherry picking. They're going through an interview, like a translated interview that's not even like a direct source of like, this is what I said. And this is what I meant. And even in the quote that they pull and how they contextualize it, it's not said that we revamped every single animation. They said they got new animations and new assets, which inherently, by the fact that there's well over 100 brand new Pokemon, guess what, dude? Guess what? You got to make new assets and new animations for brand new Pokemon.
Yep.
I know it's a shocker, but like, here we are, man. You know. Also, like their whole gotcha moment of like, this is the proof. Wireframes. Of Pokemon that are no doubt in a brand Bible that says you cannot alterate this design even by a pixel. So like them making new wireframes and new models and rigging up again and all that other stuff. Seeing a wireframe that looks similar to another wireframe of the exact same Pokemon is not really hard proof of anything. And even if they did use the same model, I'm again, newsflash, man. I'm your news reporter. Breaking news. First time you ever heard it. You heard it here first. Literally every media corporation that has made a thing has used a thing from that old thing in their next thing. I'm just like, I don't know if you knew, but assets get reused all the time. Even in literally, I'll make a video and I'll put an animation in there, like a keyframe animation, and I'll say, oh, okay, yeah, this works, but let me just change like the axis.
You did it. Congratulations.
You know, and the y-axis, and just change the animation a little bit, but it's the same numbers, it's all that stuff, and you know, that happens because, you know, stuff has deadlines. And it's never as simple as just delay it. Delay a multi-billion-dollar corporation's like plan that it expands beyond the smaller portion of said operation. Like, if games were as much of their bottom line as merchandising was, I could understand delaying it to make sure that that's good, but it's not. I mean, and it's not even close.
And not even just that, but if it weren't the fact that all of them inherently rely on each other too, like I mean, that's the thing, it's just that all of them just do. So like if they can't delay one without also delaying the other ones, and that's just like the way that works. I don't know, it's one of those things where like the consensus from the people that are mad seem to be, for the most part, inherent just distrust rather than I mean, and I'm not saying
it's misplaced distrust.
Right, yes.
Because nowhere have I seen developers, you know, people that actually make video games for a living and large scale video games, you know, not, you know, I made an indie game and put it on iOS before, you know, like I did that. Or like, you know, I went to freaking, art university, or, you know, like that type of crap. I know how to rig a model. I've made a 3D model in Maya before, you know, like people that actually have these experiences. Nobody is saying like, yeah, man, you guys are lazy. Because it doesn't work like that.
And I think, I mean, you guys were talking about on the Wolf Den too, but like it's not just a question of what the developers are doing. It's going into it as you're starting a project up, like all the pre-production, deciding what's feasible to get done. And like maybe I think it, you know, maybe could be possible that they could have put all the Pokemon in if in some, like there's some possible way that they could have done it. Probably. I don't know. It would have required a lot more hands, a lot more QA people, a lot more QA time. Like,
And see, but that's the thing. I don't even think more hands would fix it.
No, I mean,
in the time frame that because those people need to be trained.
Yes, right, exactly.
Like that takes even more.
And it
people.
all has to be QA'd by the people that are part of the like brand Bible kind of, that have that kind of thing. So like there's
multiple like tiers to that because it needs to be okay, not only by the people at Game Freak, but the people at Creatures Inc. and the people at Nintendo and the people at Pokemon Company. So it's like, it's just,
so I think with that kind of thing, it's, I don't know. I have so many different thoughts.
I think it's similar to like the situation I'm going through right now with the camera thing, where it's like you can't just snap your fingers and fix everything just by saying like, oh well, it just needs to be this. If just is in your rebuttal to something that's happening that you see on the screen that you don't make the thing that you're consuming. Maybe don't comment it, or maybe don't send that because you don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes on that. Because it's just like, for one thing, it takes a while to figure out exactly what the core of the thing is, of like, what do we need to do? What is our plan? That takes a while. Then it takes a while to say, okay, what will it take to do that? And then it'll say, okay, we don't have the resources or the time, or we'll need to do whatever. And okay, what is disposable, right? And then how much of it is disposable, and all that stuff. And the way that Pokemon has always worked, and there's never been a complaint before. Every time, and I know this because I've been saying that Pokemon needs to improve before it was cool. Every time I'm like, hey, maybe change this. I even make it a point to say it doesn't have to. You don't have to rip off the Band-Aid, and you can't. As Pokemon, what Pokemon is, where it stands in entertainment, but do it the same way that they're introducing open world elements to Pokemon. Do it in the same way that they've been making EV training and IV training easier, and like changing the competitive scene and all that stuff, and balancing Pokemon. Do it slowly. Say, okay, here's a bit in this game to see how it works, and then here's more, and then here's more, and then here's more.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get Crystal or Yellow or that kind of edition of this one, if we have more Pokemon and that kind of thing.
Pokemon Gun.
Yeah. Although somebody did comment on my video, I think, and they said Pokemon Royal Sword and Shield, and I was like, that. Oh
yeah, I saw that.
That's real good. I like that a lot. Yeah, man, I don't know. I think just it's, on one hand, it's not like we can trust companies to put consumers ahead of, like, there's tiers to where
like
we can
stakeholders.
Yeah, exactly. Like they definitely are attending to their bottom line at all points in time more than they are just the consumers, because otherwise every company would go completely bankrupt. Like, that's just
and at the same time, with a company like Pokemon, what is your consumer that you need to listen to?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like we just demonstrated, right? Like we just demonstrated a whole spectrum of like us, where we're in the middle, where it's like, okay, we get why they're mad, that's fine, we want change, but like, stuff like that takes time. And then you have like Mitch's friend, where he's like, yo, I freaking hate that. And then you have Mitch, who's kind of like teetering towards that side of things. And then we have Brooklyn, my aunt, where she's like, yeah, I'm down, man. Like, this is cool. Like, I don't even give a crap. Nothing that they're saying, it's like,
I mean, and honestly,
who do you listen to? I guarantee most people that are buying this game and that will buy this game and that will always buy a Pokemon game are more like Brooklyn than they are like any of us.
I think
where they don't know anything about any of this Pokemon. They never saw a Pokemon Direct in their life. But they're going to buy the game because it's Pokemon.
And like, I think there's also a lot of people where this is the first home console game and they wanted to, I don't know, appeal to a demographic that they haven't gotten to appeal to before. Like, there's a ton of people who just haven't tried a Pokemon game and they're like, that's like kids stuff, I don't really care about that. But then certain elements of this could be, I mean, Rob from Rule 2 Review, for example, I'd be curious to find out what he thought about it afterwards, but he'd never played a Pokemon game before and this is going to be his first one. So like, folks like that or just people who haven't played it in a long time and this is their first time back, like, it's more enticing to have more new features, even if they're ones that classic Pokemon fans, quote unquote, are mad about. It's more enticing to have more new features than it is just have more Pokemon, or the same Pokemon plus new ones and the same old as far as the gameplay goes.
Yeah. And I kind of joked about this. I think it was it was on a whole nother thing. Again, my internet interactions all bleed together. But I was talking about how jokingly, I'm happy that they cut it out because now I don't got to make that decision. I don't got to say, do I want to put do I want to put Flygon or Charizard? You know, I don't know if Flygon's in the game or not. But like, actually, no, we do know he's in the game because we saw him in the trailer.
Okay.
But yeah, like I'll always come down to like, do I want this dragon Pokemon that I like, or do I want to get a new one? Like now I just know, like, okay, no, I want the new one.
Yep.
But like, and again, I still have those Pokemon, so it's like I used them before, and I still have them, so I don't need to use them. I don't need to have them in this game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
If Pokemon Home didn't exist and people weren't being such jerks about it, I'd be making hashtag bring back the National Dex videos every week, dude. But because those two things in concert with each other just work out, I don't really care.
I am curious when Pokemon Home's going to come. I mean, they said early 2020, right?
Yeah, they said early 2020.
Yep. So, I mean, there's lots of things where there's areas in which if they'd been more forthright with stuff, I think it would have staved off a lot of some concerns, but people still would have been mad.
I feel like if they never said anything, they probably would have been better off. Because a lot of people like to bring up, like, this is new territory. We've never been able to not catch every Pokemon in a Pokemon. That's not true. We've never been in a situation where it wasn't possible to get every Pokemon, but Pokemon Bank was in day and date when X and Y came out. And again, that's something you got to pay for, and you can't just like for free access that and stuff like that. So that wasn't something that you were owed ever.
Yeah.
But now it's like, because that exists and it's $4 and people just got used to that being there, they just assume like, oh, that's always been a thing. Pokemon Bank, you know, I've always been able to take every Pokemon that I have with me or catch every Pokemon when, again, it's never been possible to catch every Pokemon in any single Pokemon game.
Yep.
You've always had to use a different one to move them forward, and you couldn't always bring every Pokemon forward.
The only thing I'd say about like maybe it would be better if they never said anything at all was apparently Japan just found out like 2 weeks ago or something like that, and they were all real mad. So like if we hadn't, that might have been worse PR after the fact than it was ahead of time. But at the same time, I think maybe, I don't know if there's a perfect world for all this stuff.
I feel like the only reason why I say if they didn't say anything, people wouldn't be searching for other reasons to be mad.
Yes. I think that's the thing is like, if you apologize to somebody, or like if you're like, hey, I won't be coming to your party, but like it's because I'm this and this and all this other thing too, then if those things are like kind of sound flimsy to them, sometimes be like, wait, but didn't you do that thing last week? And then about that, and they'll like poke holes until you're like, okay, really, I just don't want to go to your party.
It's way better for me to say, it doesn't even have to be that much. It's way better for me to say, can't go to your party.
Exactly.
Leave it at that, than to be like, I can't go to your party because, you know, like, I gotta get a haircut and my dog, you know, my dog's stomach sounds kind of weird. Like,
AJ has a dog, news. Just kidding. No, but yeah, that's exactly it. Like, if all they had ever said was, we decided at the beginning of the game we wouldn't be able to put all the Pokemon in, but they'll be in future games. People still would have been mad, but like I think it would have died off a lot quicker, maybe, because you know people weren't searching
I don't even
for
think they
rebuttals.
needed to say that. I think they could just say, or could have just said, we're not putting every Pokemon in this game. And then it would have, if they didn't say, you know, better animations and all that stuff, and this is why we're doing it. If they would have just left it at, we're taking out 400, we're taking out 800 Pokemon. Right. We're taking out 800 Pokemon, even if it was more than what they actually did. But, you know,
they'll be back.
We're getting a new game. You know, it's not like, you know, because we want to make this better and this better, because people aren't going to understand what that actually means.
Right, yeah.
People are going to, again, try to poke holes in it.
Yep.
Even if they don't understand. They don't actually know how the sausage is made.
Yep.
They just saw a Game Maker's Toolkit video on YouTube one time, and they think that they're game developers.
Yep. So yeah, a bunch of people were mad at Nintendo or at Game Freak before, but now lots of people that are playing it are pretty happy. A lot of people were mad at Sega before. Well, not really Sega, whatever, Paramount or something. But now they're happy because Sonic looks good again.
I don't know if I want to say good. He looks better.
He does look better. That's for sure.
He looks significantly better.
Yeah. Man, it's like side by side. It's painful. Like it's just so like, bad.
I saw Just Jess.
Yeah.
You remember Just Jess? She's been on the podcast before.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So Just Jess, she does reaction videos and stuff. I should probably hit her up.
That'd be fun.
But anyway, she did a reaction video, as she's one to do.
Indeed.
About this, and I was like, what the? I was like, did she Photoshop? I was like, no, it actually, like, that's what it looks like, dude. Like, that's
the old
crazy,
one?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes the new one look so much better. Because like Bob said, he was like, if he saw this one first, he doesn't even know if he would like that. Because it doesn't look good. I mean, it looks good. It looks fine. It doesn't look like, oh yeah, it doesn't look as good as like Detective Pikachu does, right?
Right.
Because like, and even that, like at first glance is like, or the first time we saw it, it's like, it's kind of weird, you know? Like, Pikachu got fur, that's kind of weird. Even though, like,
man, remember Jigglypuff? What a time.
Yeah.
Honestly, still, Gengar in the movie, by far
Gengar,
the worst.
Yeah, no.
Like, he looks rubbery and stuff,
Gengar.
and like, that's, no,
Yeah, no. I'm not down with Gengar.
Yeah.
But he's probably the only one that, like, flat out, I'm like, nah.
Yeah. Besides that, like, Jigglypuff, once I saw him, and I knew, I was like, once I see him in the movie, Jigglypuff's going to be fine. Or her, whatever.
Yeah, I think
and
Jigglypuff
Psyduck was the same. The first trailer, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this, but then it turned out great, so.
Yeah. Jigglypuff is in the territory of where I put Sonic. Where he's like, how he looks now, where it's like, it's fine. It's not how I would want to, I wouldn't incorporate it in that way. Because, like, in my head, like, Jigglypuff is a balloon.
Yeah.
So, like, even though it looks like Jigglypuff has fur, it's just like, it's a balloon.
A little balloon tuft thing. Yeah, I could see that. But overall, honestly, like, with the trailer in and of itself, obviously these are scenes that existed in the movie before. Like, they didn't make these new scenes. But I think it taking itself less seriously as part of the trailer,
like the tone and like it's not Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah, a lot of the bits just felt funny now, whereas they felt super awkward before, like just really awkward.
And again, this is another thing I brought up before. I still don't think this movie is going to be good. And I mean, like, not even because like Detective Pikachu, right? Yeah. Not on the level of Detective Pikachu, where it's like it's not freaking like cinema, like high class, like this is going to get an Oscar, dude. Like Scorsese, he's going to love this movie, dude. Not good like that, but like
to me, Detective Pikachu is like same level as some like mid-tier Avengers movies. Yeah. I'd say, you know, like it just enjoyable, like a good time. Yeah. There were some bits that were a little bit the female lead, some bits towards the beginning, especially, I was like, you're kind of awkward. But besides that, I mean, honestly, the whole thing was, I really enjoyed it. I also have extra nostalgia that adds on top of that, so it makes it a lot higher for me. But like, just as like pure film, it was like.
See, that's the thing. I have a lot of Sonic nostalgia.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even think. I don't think that I'm going to come out of that movie being like, that was a great Sonic, like Detective Pikachu, completely removed from the story and like the structure of the movie and all that stuff. I came out of that movie like, I want more of that because like how they realized the world was so good. Yeah, you know, it was just like all that stuff made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I don't even think on that level Sonic's going to be like that.
That's true because Sonic, I mean, is just being Sonic but in our world. Whereas like we saw a little bit of Green Hill Zone for a second, and that was kind of cool. But it's just Sonic in our world, so less of the wow factor, and like they don't have as much to fall back on that side, but they also don't have as much to mess up on that front too. Like that's a little bit better. I think it'll be fine. It'll be maybe because even with the original art style, if the only thing they changed was just his design, which I think it is, then even with that, like you could make fun of his design for like 3 minutes of the movie, but then the rest of the movie would just be a movie and you'd have just gotten used to his design that was bad, as opposed to now, like his design is substantially better. So that won't be like, it will be less fun to make fun of him, but that would only last a couple minutes in the movie anyway. So like, hopefully the rest of the movie is either funny on its own or like hilariously
but I think the fact that he looks terrible, so like if the movie is like bad, right, the thing that would have made the bad design, and I'm not saying like I prefer having the bad because like I don't, it looks terrible, but what I think would have helped that movie more than it I mean, maybe it is on Detective Pikachu's level, but like it being like a middling experience. Is the bad design would have compounded with everything that you saw retroactively, right? Like when you walk out of the movie theater and you're like, man, that was a bad movie, and blah, and the design, you know, like that's not going to go away. It goes away in your mind as you're watching it. But after the fact, you're like, man, and he looked real dumb. And then you're talking about like how bad it was and cringy and all that stuff or whatever. But now it's like you got one less thing to like poke fun at, so it's like it takes away from the so bad it's good factor of it. So hopefully it's just decent.
In response, they can just make a 2-hour long Sonic movie with just like memified YouTube poop Sonic. It would be great.
So I don't know.
There you go.
High hopes, but like low expectations.
Always reasonable. What else is reasonable is expecting Luigi's Mansion 3 will keep doing well. We got some NPD results. So we know some things about it. This doesn't have the article that I pulled doesn't have the little bit that I expected in it, but you know what? Whatever.
Rip, dude.
Luigi's Mansion 3 was the number 3 bestseller in October, just including its physical compared to other ones that have physical and digital. So it was behind Call of Duty and The Outer Worlds.
Also, exactly, multi-plat games.
Yeah. So it's possible that it wouldn't have been above Call of Duty, obviously, but it could have been above The Outer Worlds, maybe, if you include digital. I don't know. I got it digitally, so for whatever that's worth. But that's great because it was also only out one day in October, although the NPD, I think, calculates a couple days afterwards, like 3 days worth or something like that there. But it's also the fastest selling compared to in the franchise or something like that. So,
which I saw like Benji sales, like when the game first came out, he was like, it's not super impressive because like it's not like the best selling game and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like you're only looking at one region that also like it doesn't sell historically that well there. So it's like, it's like I don't know.
I think
the whole that whole thing is like weird to me. Because it's like people are and I expected it to, and I still expect it to, and I think it most likely is being the like it's a Switch game, so it'll be the best selling thing in the franchise because that's the trend that they set. And it seems like contrary to that expectation or that takeaway, it's still the best selling. It's continuing that trend.
I wonder what franchises that hasn't been true for. Like Kirby, obviously, there's better selling Kirbys than Kirby Superstar Allies.
I think the idea of it is
there's never been a
Kirby
better selling ARMS game than ARMS on the Switch.
That's true. But Kirby, I think, is probably that outlier. Because like every game that came out and it's like it feels like, oh yeah, this is the best one, it's become the best selling one. But Kirby did not feel like, oh yeah, this is the best one. So it sold like that. And obviously like Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze and stuff like that, like that's not the best selling Donkey Kong game, but it outsold the port. So like those games have all like outperformed their previous efforts in those ways. And then like the Mario Odysseys and the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wilds and the potentially Pokemon Sword and Shields have outdone previous efforts, which I doubt that. I don't think Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to outsell Pokemon Red and Blue. But I think it's going to be like the current fastest selling. Like it's going to outpace like X and Y and like all that stuff.
I mean, it'll be tricky too, just because it's $60 instead of $40. So what that means?
I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters even a little bit. Especially since like something like Pokemon Let's Go kept pace with remakes, and that was $60, and that had a lot of controversy. Like remakes don't usually have. In fact, Pokemon like Oraz, they had controversy in the reverse then, right? Because now everybody's mad at IGN because they are the Dexit people are mad at IGN because they gave Pokemon Sword and Shield a good review, but they were mad that they gave Pokemon Oraz a not bad review, but a worse review than what they wanted. So I think that like that'll be a factor in that. But yeah, I think Luigi's Mansion being the best selling one in the franchise makes a lot of sense because yes, it's on the Switch, but also it combines everything that's good about the first two games.
Agreed. And I think, I mean, it's at the point now where it's just It wasn't super pop. I mean, it was controversial for the first game. The second game was kind of more of a niche game, it felt like, but also kind of not, obviously.
No, that game sold real well.
I mean, it sold real well, but it's like theming and stuff like that. I don't know, conversation-wise, maybe.
Oh, yeah, true. It wasn't like this, where it's like the game that everybody's playing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think that was also because of like, like the state of Nintendo just generally.
Totally.
Of like, it was a 3DS game, so like most people like they played it, but they played it in silence. So like, I can't like Nintendo in public. People are going to say Wii U.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, but what do you expect? What do you guess for the total lifetime sales of Luigi's Mansion 3?
I'm going to say.
I'm guessing.
I'm going to say like 7 to 8 million.
I was going to say 6.8 million was my guess.
Yeah, I think it's it's going to be like top, and this is going to be like a random number, but top 7 Switch games on that list of like the top 10 best on Nintendo games on that. I think it's going to be number 7.
At what point? Like at the end of it?
Like within the next year.
Cool.
I think it's going to be like top 7.
Nice. Because at some point it'll get kicked off by something, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, makes sense. And then the last bit of news that we got is just checking where we're at of time. Cool. Are we? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Keep on going. Mario Kart Tour is doing pretty well.
Sure.
Maybe
I forgot
not
the game existed, honestly.
I have not forgotten that game existed because I'm still playing it. But
oh shoot.
Yeah. No, I'm still. It's just like an easy, like pastime, doing something. Just playing it.
Yup. Doing a something.
Right.
Yes.
There's just a bunch of numbers here. All in all, it's doing fairly well. It's not like fantastic, and it's not making as much per user as Fire Emblem Heroes is.
Yeah, of course.
But there's also, at this point, the people playing Fire Emblem Heroes are people that have been playing it for a long time. So they're more likely to be whales compared to the percentage of people, I guess, on Mario Kart Tour. And so that's certainly not to say, though, that's going to be the case forever, because obviously it won't. At some point, they'll both be more legacy titles, and then we'll see kind of where they stack up at that point. But it seems like it's doing all right, especially compared to Dr. Mario World, which came out earlier this year.
Yeah, oof,
and has
big old oof.
Yeah, whereas Mario Kart Tour made $31.8 million in October, Dr. Mario World has made $3.6 million total ever.
Oof.
So, yeah, which is surprising. I mean, just the type of game that it is.
I think Dr. Mario World is the better like mobile game. But like, I don't think Dr. Mario is an IP that people are as excited about, even though it's just literally Mario in a doctor suit.
Yeah.
People are like, I like Candy Crush. I like Mario, but I don't like Mario Candy Crush.
I mean, I guess people that are going to play Candy Crush are just going to play Candy Crush.
Exactly.
So, at this point, if you're 3,000 levels in, you're just going to keep playing the next 1,000 levels or something like that. So
yep.
Yeah, so we'll see how all this goes as it goes into the future. But in the meantime, Mario Kart Tour, I'm enjoying it fairly well. More and more though, as I do I have put $0 in, and obviously I will keep saying that because I'm never going to put money into a mobile game.
Never going to put $1 into it.
But for
which I will say. And I don't oft do this, but like for mobile games that like I'm like, yeah, man, I like this. Like Pokemon Go, I don't feel bad about being like, I'll throw them $30 or whatever. Like I'm willing to put up to a full price for a game and a mobile game that I play a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's like I play a lot.
Yeah.
But like,
how much have you put into Raid Shadow Legends? That's what I want to know.
0 negative hours actually. Turns out.
Yep.
But yeah, rip, dude.
Rip stuff. Yeah, so there you go. There's all the news bits for this week. Some of those are kind of scattered with all the Pokemon stuff, but now we get into the next part of the content, which is content podcast. I started reading the word comments.
It's content. It's content.
It is. It's content. We talk about your comments on our videos and what you've got to say, and we brainstorm about it, and it's great. So AJ made a video this week.
Now we get to talk about Pokemon more.
true. This is double user content related because you asked people in the Discord what they thought to make the video, and then we come back
the snake
and then
eats his tail. You know what I mean?
Or your comments. And can you still hear me, AJ?
Yes, I can. Can you not hear
Cool.
me?
All right. I can. I couldn't hear you for a minute. You disappeared, but you're back. It all worked out.
Okay, cool.
Yep. You ready for some questions or some comments?
I sure am.
So, Blind Man AI says, I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. Spoilers seem to be everywhere now. Went from little to no details on the game to learning too much over the weekend. Can't wait to see y'all's take on the game. I'm certain the reviews are going to look like Death Stranding reviews, the sequel.
So, I mean, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, I did just fine avoiding spoilers. It was very easy, actually. I almost looked at this, the starter evolutions, but like on purpose. But I was like, nah, it's gonna be better if I just see it when it happens, you know? I still don't know what the final evolutions of any of them are. I saw like score bunnies because freaking Hop had it, and I was like, yo, what the heck? I was like, all right. But I do still want to get all three of them, even though Grookey is like the worst one, you know? But what do you think, Parker?
I think lots of things about everything you've said, every single word of it.
Yes.
As far as the comment it goes, I mean, yeah, spoilers, blah, 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 that stuff. I wasn't spoiled barely on anything, which was nice. But as far as the Death Stranding reviews, the sequel part goes, I thought that was funny. And pretty much accurate so far, as far as not from actual reviewers, just from user reviews kind of standpoint.
Right. Like the user review bombing and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But like the reviews seem relatively positive.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the reasons why people are mad.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, I'm not going to say positive. They seem on par with other Pokemon reviews.
Yes, right. Which are, are
usually like, it's Pokemon, like it's fine.
Yeah, it's
like
high,
Pokemon
middle, or low, high.
Yeah, exactly. Like Pokemon doesn't usually get a bunch of 10 out of 10s,
right. Yeah, exactly. It's probably never going to be the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon games in that real, in the review type sense, but they're fun games and we like them a lot.
Yes.
So that's stuff. Next comment from JBell17 says, love these storage ideas. We definitely need more storage options, and to be able to trade to certain people so Pokemon won't be sniped would be great. I don't think we'll get that though, but I'd be happy to be wrong. Since we need NSO in order to play certain features of these games, we should get it home. We should get it home free. Anything more is unfair. A discount isn't enough. Just sign with your Nintendo account and they'll know.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Just because like that really doesn't have much to do with them. As far as like Nintendo Switch Online, it's not like they get any kickback for that, really. Like obviously Nintendo does, right? But it's just like that's the thing that they need to rely on for the infrastructure of their online service. That is the cost of the thing, so that's just how it works. Just like like Call of Duty, even though PlayStation Online used to be free and now it's not, they're not giving you anything more for free. Yeah, because you have to pay for online now. Also, I just think that like something like that, like more storage features and like them upkeeping Pokemon Home and like all that stuff, that costs money. And like I said, I don't think they're getting any direct like money for Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah. So I don't know if I agree with. I think that Nintendo Switch Online users should not have to pay as much. But like if they have to pay something, if we have to, have to pay something, I think that's fine.
I think it would be ideal if that were the case somehow. But yeah, they don't. The Pokemon Company and Nintendo are separate companies, so they don't share the bottom line of that in the same way. So it would be more like one of those things, I guess, where like, oh, you get free Spotify if you have Hulu, I guess, like, which is awesome. Exactly. But like, that's not assumed in any regard. It's just a cool.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want to pay for it. That's not a good way to put it. I would be fine with not paying for it. I'd be happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I don't want to pay for it because that makes it sound like I'm like, no, I don't. I think that I don't think that it's unfair.
Yeah.
I think that is completely fair because
it would be dope if you didn't have to pay for it. But if we have to, whatever.
I'd be down because like even if you did, it wouldn't be like it would be $4 or something like that. It's not going to be like a freaking Mario Kart Tour subscription.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Yeah, so we'll see on that. But that said, the more storage ideas, agreed, also would be very nice, et cetera, et cetera. Jack Johnson, next comment says, whenever I've decided to catch them all, the amount of time just spent sorting the Pokemon was absurd. So yeah, that's a must. And please give us the ability to send Pokemon back to where they came from with a bank update or something. Don't want my favorite Pokemon, some of which I've had for nearly 15 years, stuck in a prison with no way to battle at all, potentially forever.
Well, we know it's not forever. If they add features to let you battle, then it definitely isn't forever. I don't know if it's possible for them to do that.
If it's possible for them to, make them...
let you retroactively send Pokemon back to, like, if you send a Pokemon in the home, and then send it backwards, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, for instance, like with Let's Go, right? There's parts of the Pokemon that they have to strip to make it compatible with the other Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. So then they would have to recreate that code that they stripped away to put it back in there.
Yep.
You know? So then it would basically just be a different Pokemon at that point.
Yep. I mean, or like, coming from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Let's Go into Pokemon Home, it's not your same Pokemon from Go anymore. It is your same Pokemon from Let's Go, but they had to change stuff. So I mean, like maybe ideally they can keep...
like if they did that and then you took a Pokemon from Go and then you put it in Let's Go, that changes the Pokemon. But then if you take the Pokemon from Let's Go and put it in the home to put it into Pokemon Sword, that then changes the Pokemon again. Yeah. Because AVs aren't the same as EVs and like, well, you know, so it's like the stats would be different. Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely agreed on the, like, it doesn't sound like it should be stuck in a prison with no way to battle at all, potentially forever. But with the more assurance that they can give us that that's not the case, the better as we keep going. Like, as they show us the ways that we can do that, I
mean, for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm less skeptical, which sounds blasphemous to me. But, like, I think the existence of Pokemon Home confirms that that won't be an issue.
Right.
Like, if Pokemon that you put in Pokemon Home weren't going to be compatible with future games, I don't think they would be compatible with Pokemon Home.
Yep.
So.
Agreed. So everybody just have some hope, you know?
Yeah, man. Be less cynical. Take it from me, dude.
Yep.
The least cynical person you've ever met, you know?
True. And then this comment from Grim Hain. This is the last comment, but it is a long one because it's Grim Hain. What's up, Grim Hain?
Yes.
Says, alrighty, let's get into this. Collecting. I don't have a lot to add here. Firstly, because you did a good job covering the topic. And secondly, because you incorporated some of my points in this. I do want to add to the sorting options you mentioned, specifically allowing us to sort by what game the Pokemon in question came from. Many people are rather fond of bringing a Pokemon or a team all the way through the various games they've played. One could dismiss this by saying they can just catch all the Pokemon again, but even good old Ash is trash. Ketchum brought trusty Pikachu with him on all his adventures. We should be able to bring the specific Pokemon we used in previous games with us, though keeping in place the badge mechanic in the mainline games that prevents you from using any Pokemon other than the ones you caught if they're above a certain level. This is venturing away from Pokemon Home, though, so I'll try to get back on course.
Yeah. I agree.
That I think it's always the trading level thing. You guys are talking about it with MDB and all that stuff too, but that's definitely something I didn't understand for the longest time. I was like, how can I have these so over leveled Pokemon? And it's just because of that. Because they're not traded Pokemon.
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because, like, in my head it immediately made sense because Ash's Charizard, like with the anime and stuff like that. So it's like those two bits of information combined together made it obvious to me that that's what they meant.
Did you also trade a decent amount as a kid?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if some of that too.
I told you I freaking traded my Pikachu for Charmander because I didn't know how to take it out of the box.
Yep. So I wonder if a little bit of that as well. Like, you might have had experience where, like, I think I've had one time where that actually happened, where Pokemon disobeyed me because I traded from somebody else or something like that. But I think other than that, like, I really haven't traded a whole lot in my Pokemon years. Like, I mostly just played it single player. So I think most of the time for me, and probably other people like me, it's just, I ran into them being like, now Pokemon level blah, 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 entire will obey, or Pokemon up to level blah, blah, blah will obey you. And I'm like, I haven't had the experience to see where that hadn't been the case yet, you know?
Yeah. I guess that the only reason why, I think the reason why they don't feel the need to specify is because it's way more likely that a Pokemon that you trade is over leveled. Even if it wasn't given to you over leveled, it's still more likely that it became over leveled because it gets more experience.
1.5 times. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We should just trade our whole Pokedex to each other and
just
level
like,
them up so fast, and we'll win everything immediately. Wow. That's the point of games. Next bit from Grimhane, continuing on, he says, trading. Hopefully we can trade with anyone, anywhere, regardless of distance. This was a mechanic in Pokemon Go, which made very little sense to me. Why limit a global game? Yeah.
So this specifically, there's no need to worry about this. Pokemon Go, the only reason why it's limited by location is because the point of Pokemon Go is like, get out and go places, do things. Like, Pokemon are supposed to be mementos, and Pokemon Go are supposed to be like mementos of like, I went to Japan and that's why I was able to catch this exclusive Japanese Pokemon, you know? Rather than just being like, hey man, just give me all the region exclusives so I don't got to go there myself, man. It's not going to be like dependent on location.
Good.
But yeah, you can keep reading it.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense in the world of Pokemon, since Ash sends his Pokemon back and forth with Professor Oak without carrying the distance between them. If Pokemon Home is going to try to be a proper hub for all things related to the games, it should be free of those limits. I have some good hopes for this because Pokemon Let's Go Eevee allowing trades with just a code. However, this is still a rather poor system, and I would much prefer the one you put forth in this video, along with just being able to select from a friends list to trade a Pokemon. I'm not as familiar with the 3DS and prior Pokemon trading systems other than Wonder Trade, but I'm not overly impressed with them. I feel like the Switch and smartphones should be able to give Game Freak all the resources required for proper trading UI.
Yeah, I can say I haven't done any trading yet, but it does work in the same way that it did on 3DS so far. We don't have global trade system yet, but I'd assume that that's coming like with Pokemon Home. Or like Pokemon Home, they're probably not going to call it GTS anymore. It's probably just going to be Pokemon Home. How you list global trades and do all that stuff. But you can still trade global. Like if you Grimhane said in the Discord, yo, I want this Pokemon, but I don't have it, I could then reply to you and say, okay, cool. Here's a room. Here's the code to the room or whatever. We can trade. That sort of thing. And it's not like or at least I don't, from what I saw, it doesn't look like it's a thing of like, all right, the code is Eevee, Rattata, freaking Mankey, you know, like it's not like that. You can just go with people that are on your friends list and do that whole thing. And,
nice.
Yep. That's how it works, man.
Yeah. Whenever I get him a choke, I'll be hitting you up. Or a Haunter or something.
See, I wanted to catch a Haunter. I found it, but like the game was like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
The game was like, nah, man. That's not happening.
It was in the wild area. Yeah, I was, again, level 15-ish. It was level 31. And, I mean, it could just use Nightshade on pretty much everybody and knock him out because...
See, that's the thing that's funny. Because, like, that was the one... Because, like, you know how you had that whole experience with the Pokemon that... the Onyx.
Right.
Where you're just like, I'm freaking 4 times strongest. I battled that level 31 Haunter with Wooloo. So like the whole time my Wooloo has Copycat. So he just basically killed himself. He just kept attacking me with Nightshade and Hex. So I was like, all right, Copycat, dude. Like, I'm not going to get hurt, but you will. You will.
Man, that's should have done that.
He got wrecked.
Smart. Yeah, I didn't even think about Copycat. Good stuff. Continuing on, next bit is battling. Should be like battling in a traditional game. You gain XP to level up. This way, a trainer can continue to improve their Pokemon. This would let us, as trainers, continue to bond with the Pokemon we catch, as well as making the whole world of Pokemon feel more real. I'm on the fence with if we should be able to train EVs and such, or if that should be something left to the mainline games. I'd like to see the ability to rent teams of Pokemon from the current game and allow you to assemble a team of those to try out. This would let us get an idea of teams we wanted to go for in the current games, as well as possibly entice people into getting the new games for the Pokemon in them. People might want to whine about this, but as long as home isn't used in the competitive scene and the rentals aren't transferable, those people won't really have a leg to stand on. Interesting. I've got some thoughts on this. Go for it, though, first.
So I think gaining experience, unless it's specific to the AI, wouldn't happen because that's exploitable.
Yeah.
I think training EVs in Pokemon Home is almost like preferable to having to do it in the game, especially like if you train EVs in the same way that you used to train the game. Because like if it's this whole like more systems based thing and like or even like mini games and stuff like that, I think it would just be better to do if that's like the point of it, you know, rather than bogging down the entire experience of like playing the Pokemon game to be like, all right, now I got to do this grindy thing, you know. I don't know. I think it's just, especially like, okay, so think of like, say you don't have Pokemon Sword and Shield. Say you don't want Pokemon Sword and Shield, but you want Pokemon Home for whenever they release a game that has the Pokemon in it that you want.
Yep.
You could train or get like a viable team EV wise before you get the game.
Yeah.
So like you'll be good to go once you get into the post game, rather than having to be like, all right, I'm in the post game now, I got to grind for a team. You already did the grinding, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what's interesting with this is my thoughts on the battling in here would be kind of sort of the opposite of everything, Grimhane, you said. Specifically that to me this, or having a complete, if there's no battling in Home at all, I think having a standalone like games as a service Pokemon battling service sort of thing would be a solution specifically for competitive play.
Yes, I agree with that.
So whether that's its own thing or within Pokemon Home,
I think what he means is that he to avoid angering competitive fans, since currently the solution to competitive play is whatever the current Pokemon game is. They don't want, or they, in theory, wouldn't want you to be able to rent Pokemon in Pokemon Home and then take those rented Pokemon and put them into your game.
I mean, you could easily just make like, okay, there's a for fun and for glory mode, and the for glory mode just doesn't have rentable Pokemon, and there you go. You know, I mean, that would be my thoughts at least on it.
And I mean, there's rentable Pokemon in this game, so like, I'd imagine it would work the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I mean, I think with that, and like as far as leveling up Pokemon, I would think if you could level Pokemon up in Pokemon Home, it would detract some of the mainline game appeal to some degree. Like, I mean, not really, but like that's kind of the point. There would be less differentiation, at least between the two of them. So I would think more like you put them in there, and then whenever you battle with them, they're at just 50 at level 50
parity. Like
exactly. So just bring them up based on what their EVs are, their IVs, all that kind of stuff. And then it would even the playing fields on that front. And then that would just be the competitive thing, from there.
I think it depends on what the Pokemon is. Because, like, I think it would be good, or, like, accepted, preferred almost, if, like, Pokemon that you want to be able to, like, pull out. Because I know, like, when I get in on a Pokemon game, a lot of times, like, I want to have multiple teams so I can be like, yo, let's battle, but, like, let's use different teams this time, right? I would prefer to not have to train every single one of those teams.
Yeah.
So like if I could like, or at least like for the training to be more streamlined for the Pokemon that I don't intend to be like the ones that are these are my guys,
Yeah.
If I can just have those Pokemon be either leveled in the background or EV trained in some way that's less like involved, I would prefer that. But as far as like the dedicated like this is like a battle simulator sort of situation, I think that would solve everybody's problems.
Yeah.
Because like that would become the go-to thing of like, okay, this is where legacy Pokemon lives, and Game Freak could then go on and make whatever changes they wanted to the mainline game, and be fine.
That's
with that.
I fully agree. That's so whether it's this or something else, I think competitive Pokemon battles probably should just live separately from the mainline games, and then everybody would be good.
But that's the okay. Same at the same time though. This game is so geared towards competitive play.
True.
I feel like Pokemon Sword and Shield is a better, like, more rewarding game for competitive players than it is for casual players. Like, it has so much of a bigger focus on competitive than it does on the casual side of it.
I mean, but maybe that's perfect for being able to groom your competitive team and then bring it into something else. No, you're totally right. I mean, like the mints and the candies and all that kind of stuff, like that's,
And even beyond that, there's just so many of the additions are to make leveling Pokemon, breeding Pokemon, IV trade, all that stuff easier.
Yeah.
All of it. Like most of the big improvements or changes to this game are in favor. Even the cuts are in favor of competitive.
Because now, I mean, for balancing reasons and all that kind of stuff, I mean, they just couldn't stand to have as strong a Pokemon as Blastoise, in the game. And they just couldn't balance around that. They said, you know what, Blastoise is just too much to handle, much to my chagrin.
Alternatively, like NPD said,
that's really the only alternative that there is.
You gotta call the useless ones.
That's all there is to it.
Moving on.
And then the last bit here is pricing. So Grimhain says, preferably a low to zero cost. We already pay for NSO and are paying $60 for the current Pokemon game. I'm not going to delve into those games. I'm not going to delve into if those games are quote unquote worth that price, but that cost is still part of the price of entry into Pokemon Home, since there's little reason to have Pokemon Home without those games. People will want to say, but Nintendo has to run servers for this, though they forget this data can essentially be stored as a text file with various flags within it, and storage is cheap. I'd be surprised if all 10 million copies of Pokemon Let's Go's various Pokemon collections info would amount to more than a gigabyte of data, much likely far less. I would be okay with a service charge. I would be okay with a service charge for those not subscribed to NSO, though I question how much you can get out of Pokemon Home without NSO, since I'd imagine you need NSO to send and receive Pokemon in Sword and Shield from Home and vice versa.
I more so think that if they were to do the stuff that I'm talking about in this video, even if they did one additional thing that I talked about in this video, like the battling and stuff like that, all that is going to take upkeep.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a data storage thing, and even if theoretically it is text files, we're talking from, say, 20 million people buy this game, and all 20 million people have 900 Pokemon. Like that, no matter what the file is, all that stuff is going to add up. The files can be small, and also it's like, the game is not $40, it's $60, but you also got to keep in mind that we're going from a 240p game with 240p assets, and or the assets that need to be put into the game and coded for and all that stuff, to a full HD game. And any developer, even apart from the big AAAs and stuff like that even before the HD generation started, have experience making 1080p games or 1080i games, because PlayStation 2 and GameCube and stuff like that, they supported it. It just wasn't as widely used. We're going from a handheld game series exclusively to now a full HD console game. So it's just it's along with that price comes more effort on their end. I mean, just looking at the size of the game tells you that. The game's 13 to 14 gigs or something like that?
I think that was what it looked like at first, but then it turned out it was 8 or something, but still that's substantially... It's 8 or 9, I want to say. But still, that's way more than the other ones.
It's still significantly more than it's ever been.
True.
Yeah. It's just like the games are bigger. It's on the Switch, so like I think that's a big part of it. Also, like I talked about on Wolf Den Live, like it's not like all that money goes to them, and it's not like that money's going to like be life changing for them in any way. You know, like the $20 extra, I wouldn't be surprised if they break even on that, and it still is like, oh, okay, this is still a Pokemon game for us. You know, like it's not like, okay, now that we're on console, this is where we get into the big bucks, boy. It's $20 extra, man.
I mean, and also they have said on a number of occasions that they do have their biggest team ever. Like even though their team didn't go from like 500 people to 20,000 people or, you know, whatever, it is their biggest team ever. It's like 1.5 times.
They essentially doubled.
Yeah. So, you know, that said, it definitely cost them more as well.
That just demonstrates that like it costs more to buy, but it costs more to make.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, in all things Pokemon Home is going to be everything we dream and more. Similarly, we dreamed that Breath of the Wild is going to come out in 2020, and that's what my video was on. So we got some comments from you guys, and then here we go. First comment from Squantle says, I really want a game like The Legend of Zelda Reckoning, where Link is confronted by the goddess Hylia and is told of the curse and all his past lives. He soon realizes that all his efforts are useless if the suffering and fighting will only continue after every victory. The game then ends with Link finally destroying Demise's curse, and we get a montage of all previous Zeldas, Links, and Ganons fading away until everything finally fades to black. The credits roll, and just as we think it's all done for sure, Birdsong starts and we see a boy roll from his bed. He looks out a new land and puts on his favorite green tunic. The end of an era and a true fresh start for the franchise.
I think we're too late for that. I think that would have been dope if they did that before Breath of the Wild. That would have been freaking dope, dude. But now it just doesn't really make sense. Because it's like they found a formula that works better.
What formula in what sense? Like gameplay formula or
Breath of the Wild? Like how they went from how the old games played, like how every game was essentially just like slightly different, Ocarina of Time, to now it being like Breath of the Wild, where a lot of the conventions and all that stuff were changed, or ignored, you know.
I think story-wise, though, it's still I mean, you saw as well, but Arlo put out a Zelda video right around the same time that I did.
I didn't see the video, but I did see that. I did see that he posted.
Yes, right, exactly. So, and I watched that, and like, I think a lot of the thoughts that he mentioned in there were things that I'd kind of been thinking too. That this feels like kind of a culmination of the timeline in some ways, where like. You know, Ganondorf is showing back up, but he looks like this is like a real old and wrinkly Ganondorf. And like, there's been a bunch of theories about maybe this is going to be, you know, like some kind of redemption for Ganondorf or something like that too, where like the curse is removed from him and all that kind of stuff. So like, I don't think I have a lot of hope that will happen, but it would be super cool if it did, where it, you know, ended up taking a turn where like this kind of closes out this story arc of, you know, what everything's been so far, and then we get more different stuff moving forward after this one.
Also I think it's counterproductive to be like we're going to reboot this series, but like we're rebooting it to be the same. You know, like it's an all new thing, but he's wearing green again. It's like I don't know. But again, I think that would have been way doper if they did it before Breath of the Wild. And then that transitioned into like, okay, this big change, you know.
I mean, alternatively though, maybe it's better to do it after Breath of the Wild, where like I don't know, success wise, like this is the most successful game, so it, you know, kind of you get everybody back in, like, all right, everybody come back around, let's finish it up all together, and then like kind of go on from there.
The thing that wouldn't make sense to me is like, okay, we got everybody back with this new formula. This new formula is great. Everybody loves it. Now let's suggest that we're changing it again. You know, it's just like I don't know about that.
I do want story wise though, it would be
changing it drastically. Again.
I would love for them to just mention the Demise's curse and that whole thing, like for it to be a little bit meta, I guess.
Direct.
Exactly. So like that this is just a thing, because that you know, that's a factor in the whole story, but it theoretically could never be brought up again, and it would make sense within the world, but it would be great if it were brought up.
Because like before Breath of the Wild came out, I made a video on TGN a long time ago. about what I wanted them to do with, at the time, Zelda Wii U. And I was like, because Nintendo is the type of company that when they make a game, and the big thing about their game is like, oh, the big thing about Zelda was that it's open air.
Yeah.
You know, it's an open world game, but they called it open air.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, then that means that'll probably be a core mechanic of the game. It ended up not really, I mean, it's kind of a core mechanic. They kind of turned the world into like the puzzle, rather than like a bunch of like small puzzles and like in temples and stuff. I was more so thinking that this would be because like Skyward Sword was like, okay, this is like before Hyrule, and this is like kind of like how that's established and all that stuff. And now we're going from Skyloft, and now we're migrating to the ground. Now we're on the ground, boys. Where are we dropping? And now the game would be about, okay, now we're mapping out Hyrule, and we're finding all these iconic places before they became that, and like, you know, and discovering like, oh, getting in and all that crap. But it ended up not being that.
Yep.
It's a rip, dude.
Rip that. Next up, though, Alec says, I'd like to think Nintendo learned their lesson with Prime 4. This is as far as, talking about it coming out next year specifically. I'd like to think Nintendo learned their lesson with Prime 4 and that they wouldn't be announcing Breath of the Wild 2 without a pretty concrete timetable. I'm definitely looking forward to it, but hoping for more structure. Open world games tend to overwhelm me with possibilities of things to do to the point that I don't ever actually get around to finishing them.
I don't think there was a lesson to be learned. I think they 100% made the right decision by announcing Metroid Prime 4 when they did, even if they ended up having to delay it. Because it wasn't announced to be like, hey, expect this game soon. It's coming out, boys. It's going to happen. It was more so to call the flames of like, hey, we're doing this new Metroid thing, and it's on 3DS, and it's not the thing that you want. Yeah. But like, we're going to make it, though. We're making it. We're making it. That's why they announced it. And the same way that Pokemon Let's Go came out, and they say, hey, the new Pokemon game's coming out. Everybody's going to love it. It's going to be the best game. Nobody's going to disagree, ever.
Yep. I mean, or Bayonetta 3 with Bayonetta 1 and 2, and like, all those things. I totally. I think at the same time though, they probably. I don't know about lesson to learn in the sense that like. I agree that I don't think Metroid Prime 4 being announced that early was a mistake, because I think that it still was the right thing to do. It just kind of sucks for us that now we've got to wait around for it. But at least we know that it's coming. Like there's benefits definitely compared to. Like, well, I mean, it kind of would be fun to speculate, like, is Metroid ever going to come back? Like, I guess. But I prefer it this way. But at the same time, I think they definitely are aware that they shouldn't do that with too many things. So whether or not they made a mistake before, I think I'm on the same page as far as like, I don't think this is the kind of thing that they would right now announce way too far ahead. I don't know. But
like at the same time, I don't know. Because like if they were ever going to learn this like lesson, quote unquote, they would have learned it 8 Zeldas ago, because like every Zelda game gets delayed, even removed from whatever Metroid's doing. So I don't know. I mean, I hope Breath of the Wild 2 comes out in 2020. I don't know about it though. Like I don't know. I would be shocked. Like I know a lot of people will probably feel like I feel a lot of times when a game gets announced and it's like, that makes sense. But like Breath of the Wild 2 coming out in 2020 would be one of the first things that gets announced on Switch. I'm like, what? Like, I was not expecting that, dude.
Yep. I mean, and on
let me amend that. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced it for 2020. I'd be surprised if it comes out in 2020.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the whole time I've been sort of thinking that it could come out in 2020 for a couple of reasons. But also wouldn't be surprised if it got pushed back. But these next 2 comments are kind of both tying into that. So on one end, David Figueroa. I probably said that real wrong.
Let us know in the comments.
Whatever.
I usually just say David. Whenever I see like a last name that I don't know, I'm just like, all right, I'd rather just say your first name and not butcher your last one.
David F says, on one hand, he says, I really hope it comes out next year. There's no excuse. They are reusing everything. And on the other side, we get John Francis, who says, am I terrible for saying I want them to be patient and make a dope game for us? Like, I can forgo 1 or 2 years if they aren't rushing or hurting themselves because a rushed game / or injuring your employees generally bad. And then he has more of his comment. But I think it was just funny having those two comments, which one was like, well, duh, of course it's going to come out next year. They need to because they're reusing everything. And then the other side, it being like, no, like, don't rush it.
Again, I don't... I think people have a weird relationship with the idea of reusing assets and like how easy or not that is, because a lot of times assets are reused. We don't know to what extent they're reusing assets. We know that at the very least, like Zelda's models do.
Yeah.
Or at least the head. Well, actually, no, the model is new. So like we don't know exactly how much they're reusing. Probably the world, but again, we don't know that either. We don't know how much they're adding on to that because it looks like they're underground. There was no underground segments in Breath of the Wild. So they could just be building a whole nother Breath of the Wild under the original one, you know? So like we really don't know how much they're reusing. There's definitely reusing things like the engine and stuff like that. But we don't know how much more they're building in addition to that.
I think,
but even things like Majora's Mask, where it's like, oh yeah, this will take us 18 months. It didn't take them 18 months. So
I think, when it says reusing everything, I think I think they have pre-established groundwork that's done. Yes. But that still is different from reusing everything, quote unquote. So I think that side's definitely...
They're not starting from scratch, but we don't know what their foundation is exactly.
So on that side, I think like that's, you know, a little... not giving them enough credit to say they're reusing everything. But at the same time, on the other end, for what John Francis was saying, like depending on the game that they're making, I think it would be feasible that they wouldn't need the extra 1 or 2 years, but it just depends on what the game is that they're making, you know, like, because theoretically they could have put out another game 2 weeks after the original where they just changed literally one thing, you know what I mean? Like, obviously that wouldn't really be a new game, but in that sense, like, depending on how much they want to add or change or whatever, changes how much time it's going to take to make. So in my opinion, like, I think it seems realistic to me based on all that in 2020 we could very well get you know, we wouldn't have to wait an extra 1 or 2 years, but that's also not to say that they might not need to do it anyway, because for what they're hoping to get out of it. So I totally get that. I don't want it to be rushed, I think is what I'm saying too. I totally agree with you on that. I don't want it to be rushed or people to be, you know, there to be too much crunch around it. I just want them to be able to make the game that they want to make, and there's a chance that 3 years might be plenty of time for that. So and then he continues in his comment that says, edit, Shiggy M, making the man sound like a rapper or a DJ. True. And then another edit. I don't care about any of the console versus console crap. Yes, I'm not copying someone because I was and will be, unless they just royally screw me, by Nintendo. Buying Nintendo, I guess. The prices compared to Xbox and PlayStation are generally pretty good. And even if they do make a commercial blarg, see the Wii U or something, I'm not interested in see the 3DS. I don't have to buy because I'm quote unquote loyal, but only in the sense that I don't go for Xbox stuff or PS whatever stuff. I'm on the other side of that where I'm probably going to end up buying all of them. But like, you know, like I have like an order of operations where it's like I always buy the Nintendo thing first, especially now that like duh. Then I'll buy, like, it depends on what the exclusive looks. You mean because Nintendo pays you so much, right? Yeah, exactly, because they pay me all of the big bucks. They do not. I wish though. I wish, dude. But no. Then with the other two consoles, it's like, okay, what exclusives do they have? Like last time I got the Xbox first. Because Titanfall was on there and PlayStation didn't get an exclusive I cared about till like 2 years in. So I was like, I guess I'll get a PlayStation now. And I think because of that, I'm probably going to go Xbox first because it seems like they have more eggs in the row than PlayStation we didn't talk about that at all. I mean, I don't even think there's a Q&A about that. We can talk about that right at the end, I guess, if we want. But the EXO stuff, just because some of it was kind of fun. But I hope that it was evident enough in the video that I actually don't care at all about the console wars, and I just want everybody to do well. But I understand also how the title and all that stuff kind of was, I don't know, maybe felt clickbaity towards that. I mean, I don't know.
It could, like, it doesn't have to be something that we care about, but they definitely care about it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's more that they just don't. Nobody wants Nintendo to fall behind as a result of new hardware. We also don't want the new hardware to like launch poorly because of Nintendo or something like that. We just want everybody to keep doing well. That's it. So pretty straightforward on that front, but all that. And then the last comment's from Samuel Martinez, who says, not to mention Breath of the Wild was also made to work with the Wii U, so there was a restraints before, unlike now that it would only be for the Switch, so they can maximize the power of the console. Or they can release a Switch Pro with Breath of the Wild as release game to combat next-gen consoles. OMG.
You know, it would be ironic.
What?
Because then the Switch will become the bottleneck that Wii U was. So, like, I don't know,
That's
man.
also true.
And even with that, I don't know if, like, it'll be a whole new game. Because, like, Wii U is less powerful than Switch, but not that much less powerful than Switch when you account for the fact that they have to account for handheld.
Yeah, I guess it's not a question of it's less powerful so much as targeting the specific hardware design, like the chip specs and stuff like that. Maybe, I mean, the fact that the engine was built on there maybe means it wouldn't be now malleable quite in the same way, but like there's probably some optimization that they had to forego in either direction for the Wii U or the Switch because it had to work on both. Whereas,
I mean, I think for the most part, because how do I want to? Okay, so for the most part, with the things that they changed from, you know, like GDC talks and stuff like that, was hardware specific. Like the Breath of the Wild was originally going to rely on the gamepad more, but the Switch doesn't have a gamepad.
True.
So they changed that, but in terms of like moving the game over, they really didn't optimize at all.
Yeah,
really. They put the game on there. I was like, all right, cool, the game's running. We're good. So I mean, it kind of is a power thing because like that's what made that possible, is that the Switch is powerful enough for that transition to happen. So that's really the bulk of what they did. I feel like they could have, if they did do optimization, they could have got Breath of the Wild running better, but not perfectly. I think now that the Wii U is there, it'll run better.
Yep.
But we're not going from 30 frames to 60 frames.
Right.
Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not, the gap in power is not that big. Unless they're just targeting, docked mode, which they wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So. For sure. So, I mean, all that said, though, and as far as I don't really see a Switch Pro happening, if I'm being completely honest. I could very well be wrong, but I just don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because I didn't see a PlayStation 4 Pro happen either.
Yeah,
or Xbox Scorpio and all that. I didn't see nothing like any of that. So who knows?
Yeah.
But I know Nintendo Swap's going to happen though. So
that's right, Nintendo Swap, and we'll swap over to that Q&A section. Let's do it. You can ask us questions. We'll give you answers. The first bit we normally do is go through a couple comments from last week's podcast, but I forgot to pull any of them. So
rip, dude.
I'm going in there now. Just going to grab one or two, and here we go. I know G Pimpio usually writes them right at the end so that we can talk about them here. So I'll go ahead and get in there. He said, I get Nintendo continuing to the 3DS, considering that the Sega Mega Drive, known in the US as Sega Genesis, still sells over 100,000 units in Brazil each year. If there's enough demand, there will be a supply.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Then he says, A+ transition Parker on the Polygon one specifically. Yeah, I don't remember which one that was, but you know what? Thank you, and you're welcome. It's teamwork, everybody. It's all teamwork. And next up, Terry's release has convinced me that Smash has a higher skill floor than traditional fighting games due to the fundamental importance of recovery. I don't know. I don't know if I would say the skill ceiling is higher, but different. It's definitely different. I would fully agree with that. Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about either to have any kind of informed opinion. Yes, the two of them are definitely different from each other just because
there's a lot of like the thing with Terry, right? The people are trying to be like, or traditional fighting people and some Smash people are trying to say like, oh, Smash people are not as skilled because like they're complaining about inputs and stuff like that. I don't think that makes you inherently more skilled because there's this like
it's just practice and like that's just what you're used to.
Exactly, where you're learning specific inputs that are written on your screen.
Yeah.
A Smash player is going to the lab and saying, okay, where will this hit you and how will that hit? Yeah. And they're making their own combos, right. You know, like people are finding their own combos out. They're not written out for them.
I mean, it's like, I don't know, if a guitar player was like, oh, this guy's complaining because he's got calluses on this part or blisters on these parts of his fingers, when like he's a drummer, and then if you went over and played drums, you get blisters on these other parts of your fingers. Like it's it's not a good analogy at all, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Like it's just, I know what it's just saying. Different, you know, like that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, both people like competitively, like if you're playing like especially like at a high level, both of them have thousands of hours in this game. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like it doesn't matter what the game is.
Yep.
Between those.
Yeah.
Just different skill sets. That
said, I do remember in college in some class we watched a video on like DJs or something like specifically the DJs that like use turntables, like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that was on there was like, no, dude, this is like, I mean, it's like the most complicated instrument there is. And all of us in the class, for the most part, are musicians of some sort. And we just kind of like all looked at each other and we're like, okay, you are officially wrong though. So that's all right. What a fun time. Then moving on in his comments, he says, it seems like the people who are mad at Pokemon are the casual hardcore fans, for lack of a better word. The hardcore are fine with making new friends via Nuzlocke runs, and competitive players are fine with the different metagame. The truly casual don't care. So the people in the middle seem to be the people who are mad about Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Sounds fair.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I'm kind of in the middle, but like I'm in the middle in a different way.
Yeah.
Where it's like I completely understand all the like super meta things. I just don't like go that deep into it. Maybe I'll do with Sword and Shield though. Maybe. You know, just like I did with Smash Brothers Ultimate, where I was like I was kind of in the middle with Smash 4, but I was like freaking like deep dive. You know what I mean?
True.
And Ultimate.
Then the last one that I'll read from last week because I haven't sifted through any of the rest of them right off the top of my head. Grimane said, how has Parker not been to Canada? He's like the most Canadian member of Fanatics 4. I call shenanigans.
I don't know what that means, but
hey, I'll take it as a compliment. We've got a number of Canadians in the community, which is fun. Sure. Duncan for sure, Pat Green.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember who else is specifically Canadian, but I feel like there's one or two more.
Yeah. I know a lot of Canadians, man.
Yeah, they're nice. All right, moving along. These are actual...
Except for when they're not.
Actual Q&A.
Guess which one's not. No, I'm joking.
Here we go. This is from the YouTube community. We ask you questions and you give us questions. GK Dope Esquire says, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on the best gateway Switch games for kids getting into gaming.
Pokemon Let's Go, Smash Brothers Ultimate.
I'd say honestly, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is
I think those two picks specifically, maybe even Sword and Shield over Let's Go, just because like they're easy to get into, but there's a lot to move, like there's a lot of like lateral room, you know, like you can start being bad at Smash Brothers and like you can get really good, whereas like Mario Kart is a good game if like you're trying to like, you know, put training wheels on and say like, okay, now you're playing a game that people like to play, but there's no real like room for improvement there. It's like you're playing Mario Kart or you're not. Kind of. Splatoon, maybe. Yeah, Splatoon's also probably another one.
I guess it depends also on the age that you're talking about and also what the kid like there's a lot of factors to consider. I think the main ones for me aren't so much what the game is as far as a factor, but feeling like you're good at something, I think, is really important in being able to continue doing it. Like, as even talking just like career and job and that kind of stuff, like you can work in an industry that you love doing a job that you hate the tasks of, and it'd be a terrible job because like you don't actually enjoy the things that you're doing. But if you could work in an industry that you don't care about at all, but do things that you feel like you're good at doing them, and then be able to keep doing them. So similarly in a game, I think if you want the kids to feel like they, like you wouldn't start a kid off on Dark Souls because they would die and then not make any progress.
I don't know. Back in my day,
blanking. I
know. I mean, even though like not even that, because I never really felt like that was hard in the way that a lot of people do. And maybe that's part of it, is just that like I was a kid, so I was like, okay, this is a game and that's what it is. Maybe I was way worse when I first started it than I remember.
Probably, I would guess, but still,
but like
you kept at it. So
there's definitely games that like I played as a kid and I was like, man, this is impossible. I'll never beat this. Yeah. I don't remember that ever really being the case with like Lion King.
I think,
but the games that I did start and I'm like, man, this is impossible. I was a kid, so I had all types of time, dude. And I could just play this game and that's it. So
I think that's a question of like, again, going back to like the personality of the kid. So like, it's not even a question like you couldn't say necessarily that The Lion King for SNES is the best game to start kids off on, because for some it would suck and for some it would be great, So I think
it just depends on their temperament.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for some people,
if they're like, man, I'm not going to ever get good at this game. It's like, how you respond to challenge,
adversity or whatever. So I think having games where somebody can step in and help a little bit is good. So like, I mean, like Smash or New Super Mario, Mario games where there's multiplayer or, any of that kind of thing. Honestly, even just like Mario Odyssey, but being able to control Cappy and kind of help out a little bit. Those kinds of things I think end up being really good for kids, I would think, at least from the ones that I've seen. But it all really depends on the kid. So it's something that you can step in and help, I think, is a good tip from me. But don't take over, because that ruins it. And you don't want them to feel like they're like you don't want them to feel like they'll never be as good as you. Like it's, because that's not fun either. Like I wonder if sometimes kids of gamers might be less interested in some ways, because on one hand they like idolize their parent who's like so good at it, but on the other hand it's like, oh, but I could never do that. But on some kids will be like, so I'll try, and other ones will be like, I'll never try.
That depends on the kid. I think that depends on the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know that would be enough. Like if my parents were significantly better than me at something that I wanted to do, I'm the type of person to be like, nah, no, that's not going to stand.
Yeah, I mean, I can think about that in my life too. Like the first time I beat my dad at checkers or my mom at chess, and I was like, I'm the king of the world and I'm the best person ever.
I think it's like, I think it's almost like, I subscribe to the Dragon Ball way of life, man. You got to always have a Jackie Chun,
That's right.
I don't even know if you know what I'm talking about.
No idea.
But in Dragon Ball, so Master Roshi, you know who Master Roshi is? The bald guy with the sunglasses, dude.
Yes, I do.
He dressed up as this guy named Jackie Chun, and he beat up Goku in the tournament, because if Goku won, then like, what's Goku got to work for now?
True.
But if he loses to Jackie Chun, he knows like, oh man, that dude's better than me. So that means that there's other people better than me.
Accurate.
You got to always know somebody's better than you, so you can work to get better than them, and then work to get better than the person that's better than them, and then
Yep. And that's why you shouldn't always tell your kids that they did everything perfectly.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's
so like, be somewhere in the middle, dude.
Yeah.
Don't be impossible.
Yep.
But don't be a pushover,
True. Yeah, that's hard. Whenever I'm going to be a parent, which I'm not. But like I'd spend we have enough friends that have kids that I spend time with kids all the time, just at some point or other. But figuring out that balance of being like, knowing like I'm better than you, but not also oppressively. So like, that's just hard. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Moving along with the comments or questions, whatever. From Twitter.
You gotta play like an amiibo, man. You gotta start and be like real bad.
Yep.
And then like you gauge like, okay, they understand that, like Smash Brothers, because that's the best way to, like, if I want to freaking like throw the kid off the stage with something real easy.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, they know how to recover, at least, you know. And then I can do X, Y, and Z. And then like, I'm not going to be like, all right, they know how to recover, so now I'm going to spike them with Ivysaur. But yeah, it's like you adjust your play to theirs as you go.
Exactly. Questions
Move up rather than move down.
Questions from Twitter.
Yep.
You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is John Francis again. He was just talking a minute ago. Look at that. If you put two alternate versions of AJ in the room and had them play Smash, who would win? I don't know what the differences between these two AJs are, but I guess you get to decide.
So like, I don't know, like, are you talking about like with like different characters? If you put like the AJ that mained Inkling versus the AJ that main Pokemon Trainer, probably the one that main Pokemon Trainer, because Pokemon Trainer is a more versatile character.
What about AJ that mains Squirtle versus AJ that mains Ivysaur in Pokemon Trainer?
Squirtle, 1000%.
There you go.
Because Squirtle wins that matchup hard, dude. Because Ivysaur is combo food. Charizard and Ivysaur are combo food, and Squirtle loves combo.
He does. He just eats it up like a little squirting turtle, you know?
Yep. Yep. He just, you know, he just performs like he knows that he's the best he's ever going to be. Like never evolved to be anything better, you know?
Okay. Blastoise. If you put two alternate versions of Parker in a room and have them make a contest for making the best video, who would win? You know what? They would just start making a video together.
Logan. No.
Yeah.
No. It's not even true.
So who's to say? If we're doing Parker now versus Parker in the past,
eShop Window Parker
versus Action Point Parker. eShop Window Parker has lots of hopes and dreams, but very little skill. So
see, but that's the thing, though. I feel like eShop Window Parker didn't, though. Like eShop Window Parker was like, do I even like you were the one that's like, man, like, am I even good at this? I'm like, yeah, man, I saw it. I saw, I looked into the future.
You looked into the future.
And I was like,
You saw Jackie Chun for who he really was.
Exactly, Exactly, dude. I saw you go Super Saiyan in the future, and I was like, man. It was
a necessary transition, because
Yeah, like going from not knowing how to edit at all to like making an action point would be hell, dude.
Absolutely.
But
there you go.
Fortunately,
John Francis, you asked a bunch of questions that it could be taken any sorts of different ways, but we took them the exact correct ways that you intended, and there you go. Yep. So, good job.
If alternate John Francis asked this question, how would he ask it differently?
True. And who would win? Koomba Koopa says, what's been your favorite Pokemon game, not including Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Shield. Heart Gold. Pokemon Heart Gold. It might still be my favorite Pokemon game, but I didn't get to the end of Pokemon Sword and Shield.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna say Pokemon Blue.
Gen 1, dude.
I mean, it has.
I mean, Pokemon Blue is trash.
It has. Oh yeah, it has nothing to do with the mechanics and all that stuff. It's just the one that's closest to my heart. That's it. And there you go.
Get a new heart, man. Get a less biased heart.
And then he says, also love the show. Better than Wolf Den Live. Laughing faces. Different than Wolf Den Live for sure. Yeah. But you know what? We all have a whole bunch of fun. And I love listening to their show. Man. And Bob is forced to listen to ours sometimes. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, he's not. Bob listens to directly you on his own accord.
Hey, Bob, what's up?
As evidenced by the fact that he asks us the most like off the wall questions. And no person that's not going to listen to the answer to a question like that is going to ask a question like that.
I don't know.
So it's like Bob listens to this show.
But nevertheless, Koomba Koopa,
Will, though, I don't know. Will probably is like
I will just say this. PAX East, assuming all four of us are going to be there, PAX East is going to be a grand old time.
Yeah, just man, saying. It gonna be lit.
Yep.
Speaking of, we'll probably have to freaking record directly to you at PAX East.
Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like otherwise we would have to like record it on like Wednesday.
Yeah, and then that would be, I mean, which we could do like a special one that's not news related at that point. You know, that's just like pick a topic and do that. But
yeah,
and then like Q&A or something. But no, otherwise, yeah, I think you're right, as it were.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun time. In the last bit, we got questions from Discord, which, if you're listening this far, you probably are one of the kinds of people that are in our Discord. But if you happen to not be in our Discord, it's been a lot more lively recently. And it's just like, if you're ever bored and want to talk about Nintendo stuff, just hop in there. Sometimes people are already talking, sometimes they're not. You can be like, does anybody know how to Nintendo? And then people are going to be like, wow, I just Nintendo all day long.
Exactly.
And then conversations will have started.
Also, turns out like when we bring it up, people come in
Seriously.
there. So maybe we should bring up the podcast more.
Yep.
That would be a good idea.
It would. Yeah. Because ultimately, this is just the place where we get to actually engage with people the most in a direct way. So we're trying to do that
directly to you.
Ooh, yeah. Do.
Yeah. Directly to you actually has a song though.
That's true.
It's too late. The moment has passed.
I just did it.
You took too long. Yep. Yeah.
That's the one. For what it's worth, I need to get an actual capture card that can do streaming stuff, and then I may do some streaming stuff down the road whenever I'm able to.
Yeah, man. Or you could just do what I do, Bob, and come on my streams with me.
I will also be happy to do that. It just depends on timing.
You know, like we could play Pokemon and run around in the wild area. It'd be
I've already thought about how. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah. We'll figure out a time that works. Discord questions. Here we go. Hutch1346. So Hutch asks, does anyone know where I can buy a cheap backlight for Game Boy Color? And you know what? I don't know a whole lot of answers, and I didn't at the time, but Duncan got you in the chat. And so if you didn't see his answer, check it out. And he said it's usually about $50 for the mod, more or less, but he put some resources in there. So thank you, Duncan,
yeah.
for answering that. Hopefully that helped out. Next question.
Yeah.
So good. Next question. Curtis asks, do you think Disney Plus will come to Switch? And if so, when?
Yes, because Disney said as much. As far as when, sometime in 2020 is my guess.
I didn't even remember they said something about that. I kind of remembered the topic, but I didn't remember whether they said it or it was speculation.
They like brought up, like they said it's coming to consoles, and then like Nintendo Switch was in the graphic.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm still. Oh yeah, and it makes sense too with like if Hulu's in there and Disney owns Hulu and stuff like
exactly.
Still so weird that Netflix has not come.
Yeah, man.
It's super bizarre, but whatever. That it is what it is.
I'm never going to watch Netflix.
No, I won't either. I also don't watch Hulu.
Are you watching like how deep in to Disney Plus are you? How did you watch anything on there?
So I finished season 1 of The Simpsons so far. I mean, it's only 13 episodes in season 1, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I've got 30 more seasons to rewatch because I've seen some of them many times, and some of them just once.
So I watched the first episode because I never watched the full episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, well, the first episode is not the way to go for that.
I mean, I'm just watching it in order, dude. Yeah. But I got distracted.
If you decide at some point, like, I don't have enough time for all of this, just watch season 5. Season 4 is also pretty good, but season 5 is like, if you're like, I can only watch one season, then that's a good one to do.
Okay, I'll probably do that.
In my opinion.
Because, like, I get distracted too much. Because, like, I started watching The Mandalorian, and then I got, like, halfway through that. And I was like, I got to watch The Simpsons, because I told Parker I was going to watch The Simpsons. And I got distracted at the first episode, and I started watching Kim Possible, because Will brought up Kim Possible. I was like, yo, Kim Possible is dope.
Kim Possible
and I was just watching that.
I can't believe they made a live-action Disney Channel movie for it, and it was
I wasn't going to watch that,
garbage looking. Like...
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that like that would like it's just gonna be weird. It'd be weird.
Yep.
Watching that.
I agree. So that stuff. Mega Man 87 asks, probably a bit too late, but initial thoughts on Sword and Shield?
We gave you so many thoughts.
You don't even know.
In the beginning of the podcast, so many thoughts. I like it. It's a great game. I can't wait to play it after this. Also, I mean, like, I got to make the assets for this.
True.
After Parker does the thing, but like, I can play it because like this has to render.
It does.
So like, after I make like the assets, I can just render it and play Pokemon.
Blammo.
You know? It's gonna be grand old time.
I got you saying it. I assume that's for me. I don't know. Maybe not. Smug Equestrian says, how to ban Pro Safia Gaming for spoiling me on Sword and Shield, LOL.
What / who is that?
Don't even know. Just ban him, you know, just say, hey, shut up. And then you did it. That's how to do it.
Exactly. If it's a YouTube channel, you can go on YouTube and then click the little 3 dots and then click not interested in this channel.
Yep.
Stop recommending them. And then there you go.
Man, there was one video that I did that like a million times and it did not take for the longest time. I don't know what it was, but it was really annoying. Grimhane asks...
It didn't work great.
Yeah. Grimhane asked, peanut butter or jelly? Choose only one.
All right, so here's my conundrum.
Yep, go for it. Maybe it's the same as my conundrum.
Did I bring up the fact that like I don't like the regular size Reese's because they got too much peanut butter?
You sure did.
Okay, so like that's my problem. I like peanut butter more. Cause like, but like, if there's too much, there's too much.
I mean,
but like, I feel like any jelly by itself is too much jelly. At the same time,
true.
You know? So it's like,
but I mean, I guess the question
also like what kind of jelly? Because like I feel like eating like, and I don't know, that's weird, I guess, but like eating like strawberry jelly seems more acceptable than eating like just grape jelly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it seems weird that's the case, but like it just seems more acceptable.
The question also is
because strawberry. Okay, this is why. This is why strawberry jelly tastes more like strawberries than grape jelly tastes like just grape.
Absolutely, in the most literal sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm, yes.
I was just telling Ashley, I am like grape flavored thing. I love grapes; they're great. But grape flavored things, I'm. Especially like candy and grape soda and stuff. I used to love grape soda, and I broke my arm once, and they asked me. There were different flavors of whatever the gas, laughing gas, or whatever that is that makes you fall asleep.
Yeah, now it just tastes medicinal.
Yeah, exactly. I chose grape, and for the first 3 seconds, I was like, "This is the best," and then started falling. And was like, "No!" So it had that flavor of whatever it was in there. So now it's
I feel like that's probably why. Like, because I mean, this is off topic.
Hey, I mean,
but on topic at the same time. But like, that's how I feel about like marshmallow stuff. Because like with fluoride, like because how they have like the tablets and stuff, but also there's like that it has like the teeth mold, and you put teeth in there, and it has like the goo. I chose marshmallow one time. I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah,
never eating marshmallows again.
Yeah.
But anyway, peanut butter, I guess.
Between also, I didn't read this question even as like, if I could give you a glob of one or the other, what would you choose? I was thinking of it as like, only one ever exists anymore in the world. So if that's the case, between peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter. If it were jam, on the other hand, jam. So there you go. Because jam's substantially better than jelly. Like, just gelatinous things are like hit or miss for sure.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with that.
But like, are we talking about like, would we not? Okay, never mind.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of complications there, but I'm just gonna say jam is better than peanut butter is better than jelly is my preferred order.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Look at us agreeing on something. What is this world?
I mean, we do that a lot.
That's true.
Just not freaking pears or whatever.
Chicapo says, where does meat come from in Pokemon?
Slowpoke tails.
Yep, and Miltanks and stuff.
Yeah, just Pokemon,
dude. Just Pokemon that you eat. I don't know, as far as like the sausages, what?
Grumpy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's some pig Pokemon. Is that the only pig Pokemon? What else do we got?
I mean, Swinub is kind of like a pig.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm just gonna
also, like Pile of Swine and
right, yeah.
But Mammoth Swine. So Mammoth Swine's weird because he's like a mammoth. So like, how are you a mammoth and also a swine?
That is true.
Weird.
Pig Knight, and Tepig and stuff. Mankey, kind of, I guess. Yeah,
also true. Yeah, Mankey's kind of he's a pig monkey.
I mean, I'm just looking at the list right now. I recognize all these except
Spoink is
for
his first form.
What in the crap is this a fake Pokemon? Happig.
Happig.
I does not look. Yes, this is a fake Pokemon for
I don't know
sure.
what you're talking about, man.
Oh yeah, it's.
What did you do? You Googled pig Pokemon?
I googled pig Pokemon, but one of them on here was this is PokemonFanfiction.com. Oh, PokemonFanfiction.fandom.com. That's why they had one of those. I was like, what kind of garbage art is this anyway?
Rip, dude.
So yeah, meat's just Pokemon, man. We're just eating Pokemon. But that's why in real life, I don't eat Pokemon. I just eat regular animals.
I mean, what's the difference as far as we know?
Not a lot.
Maybe the Pokemon evolved from real animals.
Yep. I have a story that I'm not even going to tell right now. So we're just going to go to the last question. Sorry T says, AJ, what?
Sorry. Yeah.
Did I say it wrong? Sorority?
I mean, kind of. You just said it like you were sounding it out, which you are.
That is accurate.
It was, yeah. You just gotta say it faster
Sorry,
than that.
T. There you go. Says,
sure.
AJ, which Galar Pokemon for Smash?
Okay, so I don't know the third evolved form. Never mind. So to be determined.
True.
But so far, it looks like my suggestion for the Pokemon trainer is tracking well. So what I'm thinking is first of all, form Grookey. I mean, not Grookey.
Score Bunny.
Freaking Score Bunny.
Agreed.
Second of all, form Soble's second of all form. Third of all form Grookey's third of all form.
Fully agreed.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I want.
And if it was just one, I think Grookey's full of all form just for type balances to be fun.
Yeah. Fallen Sword and all that. Put the most trash one in there. Well, I don't know what the third of all form looks like.
True. It could be great. Could be the best you've ever seen.
Nah, I doubt that. It's a grass type.
That's true. But you know
Even
what?
the best grass type's not the best,
The best grass type might not be the best, but the best podcast just happened, y'all.
It's over, dude. The last this is it, because this is the Pokemon one.
So
inherently
it's never been as good, but it'll also get better every single friggin' time.
Yeah, just imagine when the next Pokemon game comes out, dude.
I meant the podcast.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying when the next Pokemon game comes out, when we make this version of this episode for that game, that's going to be the best one.
Look at that. It's true.
That's how time works.
That is how time works. But that's it. We're done with the podcast. We're going to stop recording in a minute. But first, before you do that, what Pokemon would you most want to play a prank on your friend by putting it in his backpack?
Execute.
Cool. I wasn't asking you, but I'll take it.
I answered.
I'm asking the people so they can comment.
Yeah, but I'm answering for them. I'm telling them the correct answer.
That's actually a really good one. Maybe Spoink would also be really fun, just like as Spoink just came up.
But if you want to murder them, Mad Cargo.
My back feels really warm. I'm dead. just very fast. In and out of there.
Yeah, just they can't even pick up their backpack. They're just done.
Yep. What a good time.
But if they have the backpack, the male backpack and Sword and Shield, they deserve it,
That's true. Yeah. All right, that's it from us, guys. See you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.